And we are live. Hey everybody, this is Roberto Blake. Hope you create something awesome. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another YouTube live stream. Thanks to everybody who's watching live or catching the replay. Today we're going to be talking about how to find a profitable niche in YouTube. So that means we're going to be focusing on making money this time. Usually we would do these on an FAQ Friday, sorry, Monetization Monday instead of an FAQ Friday. Try to do streams usually in the evenings, around about 6:30, 7:30, but on a Friday, we're doing this a little bit later. Thanks to everybody who's watching in the replay. So I am going to talk a little bit about some of these slides. Some of this will come from a presentation that I did at VidCon this year. But what I will talk about for a lot of this is, for many of you, you already have a niche in YouTube. Maybe you like your niche, and the big issue for you is your niche just doesn't make a lot of money. Maybe it's gaming, maybe it's vlogging. I'm going to be honest with a lot of you. A lot of you are going to ask me questions about how to make an unprofitable niche magically become profitable. And that's kind of a dead end. And the answer is start another channel in a profitable niche, So that is something that I just want to get out of the way up front before we jump into a lot of the questions that people have. Because the reality is there are just some niches that are more profitable than others. And again, there are caveats to gaming or vlogging not being profitable, and there's exceptions to that rule if you become a very, very large creator. So when I talk about profitable niche, I'm not talking about exceptions to the rule of people who are like, well, what about this creator with 10 million subscribers who does this thing? What about this creator with 5 million subscribers that does this thing? That's not really what I'm talking about. In general, I'm just talking about the likelihood of being able to make reasonable full-time income from YouTube by going a certain route. And for most people, the harsh truth of the matter is that vlogging, gaming, and prank channels don't pay the bills and are not going to. And it's rough, but a lot of people are very attached to, well, I like this channel, or I like the audience, or I wanted to always do this. I grew up watching these kind of YouTubers. The answer is start a second channel in a profitable niche, do the channel that you like, but also maybe do a channel that makes money, or accept the reality to some degree of the niche that you're in being a niche that is not profitable. So let me bring back up my slides to kind of give you a little bit of the lay of the land of my perspective on this. So, by the way, we'll only go for maybe an hour, hour and a half, and we'll answer some questions. We'll answer super chats, but we'll also answer a couple of questions. We got one of our members, Larry from Home Rapid Repair. Good Friday evening, Roberto. Having a record ads month on YouTube and Amazon links too. Hopefully some of my advice for you helped on that, Larry. So good job. Glad to hear it's going well. So there are a lot of ways to monetize on YouTube, a lot of ways. But my belief and my process is that you should have a diverse income portfolio, and it should probably try to cover some of these bases. Obviously, you're going to have platform revenue from YouTube, which is ad revenue. When most of you think about profitable niche, you're thinking about how well does the AdSense pay. My thought is for you to get off of AdSense. You can still make money on AdSense, but in terms of relying on it, I don't want you using it as a crutch or basing your living income, on it. Brittany Dixon says vlogging doesn't make money. LMAO. No wonder so many people quit. Vlogging can make money, but it's an exception versus a rule. A lot of people do vlogs hoping to make money or to express themselves or share their journey, so they say. Why do a lot of people quit? Because they say that, but the truth is they actually wanted to be full-time YouTubers who make money from their lifestyle. And then when they realize that they can't do that, then they quit because it wasn't making money, it wasn't sustainable, and they weren't getting what they were hoping to get in terms of views and money for putting themselves out there. So why do people start and quit vlogs? Because they think it's easy money. They think being a YouTuber is easy. They think that, oh, great, I can make money just living my life if I put it on camera. And that turns out to not be the case for the overwhelming majority. So it goes very badly, and most of them quit. Same thing for YouTube gaming, which is the majority of failed channels on YouTube. The majority of failed channels on YouTube are YouTube gaming and YouTube vlogs. Nothing against people who do gaming or vlogs, but you do understand the majority of people who fail at YouTube usually fall into those categories. Catafit, I hope I'm pronouncing that. Cat the Fit says, my niche makes money. I'm assuming this is the fitness niche. I'd agree. It's just very hard because there's a lot of competition and a lot of misinformation. Yes, fitness niche is very profitable, and it falls somewhere between an influencer and a thought leader. And those can do very well, and they can be very profitable. I've coached people in the fitness niche. It can be very lucrative. To make very good money. But what I will say is, in general, if you want a profitable niche, you could go off of, okay, how much does this pay in ad revenue? How much does this have a high CPM, a high RPM in terms of the ad revenue that pays per 1,000 views? You could go that route. But I instead would tell you this. When you decide you want to pick a niche in YouTube, study maybe 5 or 10 of the bigger channels in that niche and ask yourself the following questions, and this will become important. So if you want to pick a profitable niche in YouTube, one of the first things you should do is find 5 or 10 of the big channels in that niche and then go through them and try to identify 10 different companies or more that sponsor channels in that niche. If you cannot identify 10 or more companies that are paying creators for sponsored content, then that's going to be a little rough for you in terms of finding a profitable niche, because you need to say, okay, to know for sure this niche is profitable, do people get sponsors, and who are those sponsors, and are there enough sponsors to go around? So that would be important. If you cannot name 10 sponsors and identify that they're paying some of the top creators in your niche and that they sponsor them and who those sponsors are, it's going to be hard for you to prove to yourself that this is a profitable niche. So in the chat, while I have you guys live, do we have any questions about that? And for those of you watching the replay, do you guys have any questions if you are watching the replay about why I say you need to find out 10 sponsors for the niche and who they are so that you know there's enough sponsors to pay and to go around? Does that make sense to you? So let me know. Now, I think that this becomes really important because most full-time content creators tend to rely on sponsorships rather than AdSense. I know a lot of people don't believe that, but it's true. Some of the exceptions to this are creators who have to rely on AdSense, and so they will largely advocate for AdSense or say AdSense is enough or this or that, but that's usually defensive. And this is usually a lot of creators that are in niches where they rely on other people's IP. So gaming, movie channel reviews, reaction channels, a lot of them, a lot of them can't get sponsors. Either they don't get enough views, they don't have enough subscribers, or the sponsors are afraid because it uses someone else's intellectual property. So they're afraid that it might make them vulnerable to potentially being sued, or that there might be copyright or fair use issues. So that's where a lot of channels that rely on somebody else's IP go wrong. So there's that particular problem. So it's very hard. It's not impossible, but a lot of creators that say, oh, AdSense is enough, and I do AdSense and I get Patreon support. Look at their niche. In a lot of cases, if they're relying on other people's intellectual property and other people's content to make their content, that would be the reason they're saying that. It's because it's very hard for those people to make their own merchandise. It's hard for them to sell affiliate links. It's hard for them to sell their own products. They don't usually have a service they can offer anyone. And then if they can do anything, they'll try to get sponsors, but it's very hard for them if they can't get reliable views. And if they're relying on someone else's intellectual property, if the show is doing bad, but they like the show, but the show's doing bad, oh, that gets rough. Oh, they like the game, but the game is in decline. Oh, that gets rough. So again, so where do those people go? Sponsorships and sorry, not sponsors, ad revenue, memberships, and then sponsors if they can get them. Now, also people who have niches that rely on some form of commentary and negativity, their audience is more vocal about companies they don't like or about companies being scams and they don't like being sold to. So like if you're somebody who covers scams or fraud, or you do negative commentary videos on celebrities or YouTubers, a lot of times they have to try to avoid taking sponsorships, because if that sponsor turns out to be something people say they don't like, or the sponsor has any kind of scandal, even if they vindicate themselves later, it becomes a problem. Right now, even though for the most part, from people I've seen that are YouTubers that are doctors, most of them have vindicated BetterHelp, but the community has never gotten over whatever the scandal was with BetterHelp. I think it was a terms of service scandal. Spoiler alert, I know people are more sensitive to the mental health topic. And again, I'm just telling you the information I know. It's not in itself an exoneration or a condemnation of BetterHelp. I'm just telling you the information I have. My understanding originally was that it was based on the terms of service, and the terms of service gave a legal wiggle room as to the dubious nature of whether all of the mental health professionals were certified or not. The way the legal loophole in the terms of service was worded was just to say that, not to say, hey, we're hiring unlicensed people. It was to say, if for some reason people's licenses are not up to date, or they have not disclosed that to us correctly, or they misled us about their credentials, we will not accept liability for people who lied about their credentials, or if their credentials expired, which is a normal legal thing. And if you ever ran the terms of service of everything you use, from every YouTube terms of service, Twitter terms of service, or God forbid your employment contracts, you'll realize that most of the things that you legally agree to in terms of terms of service, the things that you agree to in disclosure agreements, your employer agreements, even things on government websites, the terms of service are all horrible and mostly work against you as a consumer. A lot of people do not realize that all of the terms of service for everything you use is horrifically bad. It's really bad. But not everything you use will be called out by YouTubers with big platforms and a lot of benefits to viral videos from negativity bias. And so it blows up. And then even if it's 5-6 years later and the company is doing better, doing right, doing this, or has hundreds of thousands of positive reviews, there are some people that will never let it go. For this reason, a lot of channels that do things that rely on negativity bias will turn down sponsorships as a source of revenue, will not do affiliate links as a source of revenue, and they will only do two things that their audience will accept for them. That is to profit from their ad revenue and to profit from memberships or donations through fan funding, and that will be the only revenue streams that a lot of people will accept in commentary, because if a sponsor ever has something negative about them, it damages the credibility of a commentary channel. So I know some of you've probably heard of that, or you've seen that before. For some of you, this may be a new phenomenon that I'm explaining to you. And the reason I'm pointing it out to you is I'm telling you, for different types of channels and niches, why some don't monetize as deeply as others. I think that not monetizing as deeply as you can make your channel vulnerable to demonetization, to ad revenue fluctuations, because advertisers might pull out, industry might go down, marketing might go down, ad prices might change. There's a lot that happens. We had the YouTube adpocalypse a few years ago. So there's a lot of things that could affect your ad revenue. Oh, the invalid traffic issue on YouTube could tank your ad revenue. I've seen people lose 80% of their ad revenue through no fault of their own. So those things can get a little rough. Another one is memberships on YouTube. If you're not doing Patreon, takes 30%, and you don't get that much out of that 30% in terms of to justify it, compared to giving up like 8 to 12% on Patreon. So that gets to be a little awkward or a little rough in terms of okay, I'm thinking 30% of my money taken out, but what am I really getting in services from YouTube in exchange for that? Twitch, it's 50%, and you get next to nothing of value in exchange for that 50% of the memberships. So it's, it's a little hard to justify that. And then obviously you're splitting the ad revenue 55-45, with you getting 55 and YouTube getting 45. It's 50-50 on most other platforms. So these platform-based revenue streams that you don't own are very dangerous for creators. And so I do feel that most full-time creators, my understanding is most full-time creators, one, they monetize with 3 or 4 main revenue streams. Sponsorships and UGC is a big one, but a lot of them can't take sponsorships because of the blowback and negativity that their audience sometimes has for sponsorships. Does that make sense to those of you watching this when I say it, that there's just some creators that even if sponsors were beating down their door, offering them a ton of money, and some of these sponsors could be straight up and legit sponsors, they beat down their door, they throw money at them, and then they still don't take the deal because of the audience negativity and backlash to sponsors, whether they're legitimate or otherwise. It makes the audience uncomfortable. And a lot of those are much more like commentary channels, sometimes news channels, things that have a high negativity bias. So when I say that, that makes sense, right? Why they turn that down. So not all of them turn it down, by the way. Not all of them turn it down, but a lot of them do because they feel it might hurt their credibility. Leslie Moore says, ad revenue is a 45-55 split. Never looked that closely at. Yes, with YouTube, ad revenue is a 45-55 split. The creator gets 55, the platform gets 45. On all of your YouTube super chats, thank you for everybody super chatting, and all of your YouTube channel memberships, all of your super thanks, and also if you use YouTube's version of courses, which competes with Udemy, the course platform Udemy, all of those things are a 70-30 split where you get 70% and the platform gets 30%. So you should be aware of that. Shorts ad feeds is a weird revenue split pool that I'll talk about some other time, but that one's a revenue split pool and it works out very differently. And it kind of weirdly works out more like 55-45 where you get the 45, but you don't even get the full 45. You split it with other people. So ads for shorts pays less as a result of that. And yes, YouTube has a course platform. It's youtube.com/courses, I think is what it is. And that competes directly with Udemy. And I think that's with a capital C or youtube.com. Is it courses or course? Yeah, YouTube. I have to look at how to get to it, how to navigate to it. But YouTube has some kind of courses platform now, and YouTube has courses that are free and paid that creators can sell, and it basically competes with Udemy. I don't think it competes with Skillshare. It basically competes with Udemy. So YouTube official courses. A lot of you don't know about this, but I just linked to it in the chat for all of you. So if you go here, this is YouTube's official courses. And so there are creators who sell courses on YouTube directly, and you can buy them in YouTube. This competes with Udemy rather than with Skillshare. I thought they were going to do a model similar to Skillshare, but they did a model similar to Udemy instead, which is kind of cool. But it's a 70-30 split for the creator, with the creator getting 70 and YouTube getting 30. Yeah. So there's like 10 ways to make money on YouTube. You have super chats, super thanks, super stickers, YouTube's own brand connect, which is a concierge thing connecting creators with sponsors. You have YouTube ads. You have the YouTube Shorts feed ads. You have the watch time from YouTube Premium. So you have that. And then you have channel memberships, you have YouTube courses, and then you have YouTube shopping affiliate, and you have YouTube merch. So you have about 10, 11 ways to make money from YouTube directly. And so, yeah, those are basically your monetization options. I'll probably talk about this on Monetization Monday a little bit more and break down all the ways that YouTube lets you monetize directly in the platform. But yeah, those are like the 10, 11 ways you can directly monetize with YouTube on the platform. So a lot of you probably didn't know about that. And like I said, the revenue splits for a lot of those things are 70-30. Ad revenue for regular YouTube ads is 55-45 for the creator. The problem is YouTube controls your access to all of that and whether you get to have it and whether you meet the requirements. So that's why a lot of creators will rely heavily on sponsorships. Problem is most creators don't get recurring monthly revenue from sponsorships. They don't do long-term deals. So what you want to do, in my opinion, is this. You do want to maximize ad revenue to the best of your ability. You probably want to have channel memberships and Patreon and kind of mirror those experiences because people will trust whichever one they like, which is channel memberships or Patreon. So you kind of want to try to give the same perks or as close as you can on that for sure. But a big thing that a lot of creators don't do is they don't take control of their own income off of YouTube or off of platform or off of Twitch or off of TikTok or Instagram, whatever it is, and they won't sell anything directly to their audience. Now, a lot of creators, it's one of two things. They don't want to appear salesy, especially if they have a young audience. The young audience hates being sold to, but the young audience also is broke. So a lot of times, most of the time, it's not everybody, but most of the time, so it's really hard to sell to them. It's also hard to do this with affiliate links for a lot of people. Now, if you're in a niche that is a product review niche like beauty or tech, the product review niche is really good because you can get sponsors. You will get affiliate revenue. If you make your own products, people will buy them. It's a little harder sometimes to get membership support there, but it is actually pretty straightforward to get donations for a lot of it. Memberships you can get if people want to see the behind the scenes of how you do your process or something a lot of times. And it does do good RPM and CPM and ad revenue. So I believe that product review niches that review physical products like tech and beauty and cameras and stuff like that. Oh my God, the camera gear niche does very well all around, to be honest with you. So those can be incredibly profitable. That does really well. I would argue that it's one of the most versatile niches. It's also one of the great things about that niche is you can age throughout those niches and still do really well the older you get. And to some degree you benefit because then you're able to usually afford more things and buy more things. And so that works out. So a lot of opportunity there. Now, TV reviewers and game reviewers don't do as well because the audience usually doesn't have a lot of disposable income. The disposable income they do, they put back into the hobby and not into your pocket a lot of times. Are there people who do make good money and go full-time there? Yes. They rely heavily on their ad revenue and sponsorships though. And again, there's only certain sponsors they can take because they'll get criticism if they do a sponsorship. In general, most people, if the sponsor doesn't fit with the audience or the vibe of the channel, it's going to be rough no matter how much. So you shouldn't take those, obviously, but it does limit people's opportunities. There are some niches, like I said, that have more sponsorship opportunities than others. Men's lifestyle, women's lifestyle, those do really well because they have an abundance of sponsorship opportunities. They have broad audience appeal. The ad revenue is actually pretty good on those. And they also usually can make something that they can sell to their own audience that they control. And it's also not hard to build communities and memberships around personal development, career development, men's lifestyle, women's lifestyle, men's personal development, women's personal development, relationship stuff. That one, it's easy to build membership communities around that. It's easy to build physical and digital products around that. And it's actually pretty easy to get sponsors. So those typically work. The things that I feel make the most money typically fall into health, wealth, productivity, and relationships and those 4 categories. So like people's health, so health, wellness, fitness, personal development, those things. Relationships, that could be personal development, that could be dating, that could be relationships, could even technically to some degree be parenting, could be things like that. The wealth building side is finance channels, business development, career development. Productivity is time management, personal development, software, hardware, any number of things. So you could look at Ali Abdaal as a really good example. When you do these kind of things, I feel like these have the most overall potential. One, they have the broadest group of overall sponsors. So you have a lot of sponsors, right? Two, they do well on affiliate programs and selling your own products to people. So that works out really well. And those are very product centric. They do well in AdSense because of the broad sponsor appeal. The ads are competitive. They tend to do well and they tend to fill up in inventory. So there's enough ads of a good price to go around for an audience, by the way, that has disposable income, because the audience for all the things I just mentioned also tends to skew older, so more affluent as well. And then these are also ripe for membership communities because these are things people commit to doing something about in their life. So that now those 4 things are not niches. Those 4 things, you could call them verticals. You call them category verticals, but they're not necessarily niches, but that tends to work. Thai TV says, what if it's a reality TV show, like 3 to 5 minutes, an episode twice a week? If you're talking about like you're reviewing a reality TV show or something like that, I mean, you can do that and you can get views on that and you can get AdSense on that. Maybe you can get sponsors on that. But in general, anything that relies on some other intellectual property doesn't do great with sponsorships, or they lowball you on the sponsorships. A lot of times they don't like the liability of being tied to another intellectual property or worrying about whether you're doing fair use or something's going to get copyright claimed or something's going to get copyright striked. That is why it's hard for TV show reviewers, gamers, and anime channels. Sometimes they struggle to get brand deals and sponsorship, but when they do, they also get lowballed compared to other creators where someone owns 100% of the intellectual property. You own 100% of everything except maybe licensing some copyright-free music. You get lowballed when you don't own everything. When you own everything, you don't get lowballed as much. And when I say lowballed, I mean 2 to 3 times the amount of money for the same subscribers or view counts or less. So like it's a 2 to 3x times income to do original content, even with lower views, than to do something that's popular that relies on someone else's intellectual property because the sponsor is trying to avoid legal liability. So I hope that makes sense when I say it. Brenda B says, hey, Roberto, what do you think about the crafting niche? I have different machines I can make videos about. I don't think it's a bad niche. Make no mistake. When I talk about this stuff, I'm not saying anyone's niche is bad. I'm talking about its income generating potential and what the risk versus reward are for brands, what the opportunity is based on how affluent the audience or how reluctant they are to buy, or whether they will support sponsors or whether they will neg you for taking sponsors. That is all I'm talking about is profitability. Crafting is a good niche. I've coached crafting creators. I think we have Sewing Report, Jen from Sewing Report and Planet Jen in the channel, in the chat right now live. She's one of the play buttons I have in the Academy Hall of Fame. I actually have her silver play button up on the shelf right next to my play buttons. So, I think that the niche can be good, but I also think it's thin on sponsors. If you look at crafting, sometimes it can be thin on sponsors. And also, a lot of the sponsors in the crafting channels, because their margin on their own retail products is so low, they lowball you guys on deals in terms of that. I think one of the best opportunities for crafting channels is actually selling, depending on what you're doing, it could be selling patterns for certain designs. If it was something like sewing or embroidery, sometimes that does well. But I think the best thing for crafting channels and DIY channels is affiliate marketing with Amazon and also with the YouTube shopping affiliate. and getting anywhere from 3 to 12% commissions on the links that people use for the Amazon influencer program and for the YouTube shopping affiliate with their product tags, because I think that those things just stand to make the most overall money, because of the fact that people who are consuming the content in that niche do projects on their own. So they do buy those things, and a lot of them will buy them from Amazon. Other than that, they would buy them from Michaels or AC Moore or somebody. But a lot of them will trust Amazon, and there's just a lot of convenience with Amazon and ordering online. So I think there's a big opportunity with that, I would say. So I do think that that does help considerably. And I think that's a good revenue stream. I also think that for DIY and crafting, the ad revenue can be okay. But remember, in my point of view, ad revenue isn't always the best way to go in general, because it takes a lot of worrying about nothing going wrong with YouTube. So that's something I would be a bit concerned about, is, having to worry about, okay, what's going to go wrong with YouTube now, or even just the sheer amount of money you give up to YouTube in general. So for those reasons, I'm not in love with relying on ad revenue. And then there's things like the invalid traffic issue, which through no fault of your own, you could have all kinds of problems. So that's something that I have some concerns about. The other thing is, I believe you should also position to have your own income stream, whether it's memberships or selling your own products or services. So on the crafting niche, I don't think it's easy to sell a membership to that. And I also think it's not as easy to sell your own products. So those are just some concerns I have about that particular niche. But I do think the Amazon affiliate opportunity is really good. So it is something I look at. Could do okay for sponsorships under the right conditions. So Ty TV says, no, Roberta, I was talking about a reality TV show that I would own. It depends on the viability of that. I don't know that. All right. So weird thing. If I was looking at the theoretical owning of a reality TV show on social media, I would do it radically differently than most people, but partly I would just rip off Eighth of Ocean and what was it? Eighth of Ocean and The Hills from the MTV days. For those of you who are, 80s kids who were in your 20s during that era, you're probably in your mid to late 20s like me. If you remember Eighth and Ocean and The Hills and things like Jersey Shore, this one takes a lot of money. So I can throw this idea out there, because to pull this off, someone has to be able to raise a bunch of capital and probably give up equity, or already have a crap ton of money, or own fabulous real estate. Okay, because watch this. My idea, if I wanted to do a reality TV show in the social media era and make bank, it would be helpful if I already was a real estate person, or I was capable of raising a lot of money in real estate through investors that just can go in on a portfolio or on a REIT or something to that thing and go a little bit into acquisition or development. The reason I say this is because I would probably try to buy a really nice high-end property, and I wouldn't just do the typical thing of, oh, let's do a creator house. What I would do is I'd build a talent management company, and then also with the talent management company, we'd have another company that we own under a parent company that owns both, that would become the the holding company for both companies. And the reason is we coordinate the assets between the real estate company and the talent management company, because what we do is we would manage influencers and we would put them up in a content house, but we would make them pay a certain amount of rent to be there. But what we would do is we'd also be taking management fees from them. Or we do some coordination where we don't have them pay rent, we have them pay the management fees, but we own a percentage of all the IP for their personal brands and their social media, and we'd probably own 20 to 30% of that. And the reason we do that is because the media company that we own would subsidize helping the filming, production, and gear, and give them training and put them up in a house that they would never afford. And so what do I mean by that? We'd probably get like 6 influencers together, somewhere between 6 and 8 influencers, and basically copy the Real World, Road Rules, the OC, that sort of thing. And we put them together as roommates. They all build personal brands and personal channels on every social media platform. We take a 20 to 30% cut of all the revenues doing through that. We'd probably want to go out and also manage and get them the brand deals or use the connections we'd have in industry to do that. And we'd put them in a really, really expensive property. So we'd have a real estate property that's like maybe 1.8, 2.6, and we wouldn't do it in New York or California, but we do it somewhere like, say, Wilmington, North Carolina, college town, beach town. So beautiful, luxury area. We either put them up in a big house or we put them up in a high rise, large enough condo that makes sense. Okay. Or a loft or something. And so we do that. And we basically recreate the concept of the MTV's The Real World and Road Rules and things like that. But we'd have multiple properties and we do content houses and we do that. Again, I'm doing the expensive version of your reality TV show idea. Is that if I had unlimited money, this is how I think about it. And so we just produce some really good content like that. But we'd also have them do IRL streaming, because IRL streaming is the new thing. We'd obviously do casting for this. We'd only pick the most charismatic, attractive people we can find with the right demographics and the right psychographics. Then you have 6 people all building successful channels, doing collaborations, doing these things. You could sell the sponsorship package as a collective. You could collectively grab opportunities, and you have all these broad demographics from having a unique cast of characters. And then you also get to duplicate this and have multiple houses, run multiple brands, do this throughout the different content house models. And so you do this. It's higher level thinking. Again, this would be what with larger amounts of money or the ability to raise investor capital, this is probably what you'd want to do. And so you'd have all these people, but they'd also have diverse income portfolios as well. So it means you have that. Meanwhile, because you have the real estate property, bottom line is the property is probably appreciating no matter what you do, as long as they're not damaging anything. So, the money generated from this pays off all of those assets sooner, and then you roll it into acquiring more properties. And if this is working out, you rinse and repeat. Worst case scenario, it generated probably enough money to definitely cover a better cost of having these properties than having tenants in them. Because I would imagine that if you're taking a 30% cut of 6 influencers and you're managing them and optimizing and getting them brand deals, you probably make more money than if you rented it to them, or probably make more money than if you rented it out to anyone else or Airbnb'd it. So then you're able to literally exponentially increase the potential cash flow of a property by just turning it into an influencer house. But it only works if you have a management company that owns a percentage of their IP by fronting them the access to the property and handling subsidizing the production, so that they have high quality camera gear, high quality production, and that you guys are managing and teaching them the social media accounts and so on and so forth. So again, it's not easy to pull off, but that's you have real money. Then you literally are making a reality TV show. You do own everything, but you don't have to make a show that you sell to the gatekeepers of old media. You would just go direct to market, and now at least some of your 6 influencers, one of them has a chance of really, really blowing up, maybe more than one of them, or maybe 2 of them become a couple and then they really blow up because of that. There's any number of cool things that could happen with that. And again, with the IRL streaming component, there's constant revenue and cash flow. You make them have a contract where they have to stream a certain amount of hours per week so that you know that you have the opportunity to make the money. The streaming doesn't require a lot of investment capital. A lot of the upfront capital in this, even at a loss, the capital and the ability to retry this over and over again, because you don't have to pay the influencers a salary per se, because what it is a revenue sharing agreement. That's where, and then you're actually taking money off of the influx of the brand deals and all the other revenue streams, and you're covering the upfront cost for things, because everything is joint venture basically. So basically everything is joint venture, but you're the senior partner because you have the assets. So, and then when their contract is up, they can walk and they own their own personal brand, which is basically how not Spotify, that's how Barstool kind of sort of handled the relationship with Alex Cooper from Call Her Daddy. When her contract was up and they made their money together, she was able to walk away and own the IP, which is why she was able to then walk away with her deal to Spotify. So, in terms of the idea of a reality TV show, this might be above budget for you, but that's my thought on that sort of thing. If you're just going to try to put together a shoestring budget reality TV show, I would recommend just doing IRL streaming and making it interesting and having an interesting lifestyle or location that you can do IRL streaming. But my big brain, big budget idea is just jack MTV's old IP for all their stuff and have a new brand for a new generation, because Gen Z and Gen Alpha ain't never seen Real World and Road Rules or the OC or the Hills. So, yeah. Roberto, is there something you think that would make the niche and then would be ways you could connect the other machines? Like maybe, hey, I use a laser cutter and then circuit can supplement. I think you're talking about the DIY and crafting niche. My answer to that is maybe, but I think there's probably more people in the chat that probably know a lot more about that. There are a lot of cool things in there. And by the way, there's a lot of cool things in crafting that I think can be really viable financially. But I think there's also a lot of money that gets left on the table just because some audiences, there's certain things that work for them and there's certain things that don't. Marcus from the UK says, Brenda B, like Roberto said a little while ago, look at other larger channels, what they have done and what they haven't, but also what they failed to explain properly, or is there something missing? Yeah, exactly. So if you study the most successful channels in your niche, and then you actually break down how do they really make their money, or you watch a video where they explain how they make their money, it's actually radically helpful to understand what is possible and what you should be looking for. Ty TV says, sorry, Roberto, I mean my own original TV show about 3 comedians, 3 to 5 minute episodes per week, or an original TV show. Hey, look, the reality is you just have to try it and see what works, and then you have to just also build the best business model you can around it. Robbie Motok says, how can I get 100,000 subs on YouTube? I've actually covered this in multiple videos. I talked about how I managed to do it. I've told you how other creators have done it. I've coached other creators to it. Mostly I break it down to a numbers game, and I don't believe people should try to do it in a year. I believe what you build fast, you can also break fast. I think if you build something fast, you can break something fast. So the reality is, if I really cared about getting to 100,000 subs on YouTube, my literal answer is, if I am not romantically attached to a niche at all, or to this wonderful idea that I'm in love with, if my only goal was I want to be a big YouTuber, and it was my only goal, there's a couple of routes I would go. If I only wanted to be a big YouTuber and it's the only thing I cared about, and I wanted to get 100,000 subs, and I want to do that, let's say I want to do it in 3 years. I want to do 100,000 subscribers in 3 years. I would probably make reaction and commentary videos on things that are very popular but are more social issues rather than just internet viral things, but social things that go viral. So I would look at doing things like that, and I would do it daily. So I would do a daily reactions channel, and it would be more social commentary. I wouldn't necessarily say it has to go full on political, but if you want examples of people who do daily social commentary, Brett Cooper, Mediocre Tutorials, Abba and Preach. They do reaction stuff. They all have very different styles, very, very different formats, very different opinions, but I would put them in the commentary niche. Brett Cooper does a little bit of politics, but I don't think you could call it her main focus. I think that it borders on kind of pop culture-ish, but there's also some political angle there. And then Abba and Preach, I think, just do a comedic spin on social commentary and viral videos and other influencers and celebrities. Same with mediocre tutorials. So you just find something that you could do daily to react to that people have very strong opinions on. Another example of this is Asmongold. Asmongold might be the best example. So Asmongold. So I would say like them, maybe even Moist Critical, Charlie, Penguin Zero, that guy. You could do that. I would do something daily that I could just low lift, but personality driven and just daily, because my odds of literally having something pop off and do a lot of subscribers increase exponentially if all I'm doing is talking about things that already people pay attention to. So I would just go daily reaction / commentary niche. And it's probably safer than news because that's the other one you could do. And I would just bam, 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 bam. And in 3 years, it's 1,000 videos. 3 years, 1,000 videos. There's a high probability that over a given period of time, it's been optimized to where on average, each video could have brought you 100 subs, especially with it being personality driven. If people love your personality or they like what you claim to stand for or whatever. So 1,000 videos with an average of converting 100 people who watch to being subscribers at a 1% conversion rate. You only have to ever average 10,000 views per upload. You will not get 10,000 views per upload outright, but your average can skew to that, especially with your pop-off outlier videos. If all you're going to do is cover social issues, social commentary, and viral videos, then being that type of social commentary reaction channel and being daily, where you either upload every day or 2 to 3 times a day like a maniac, you get to 1,000 videos. It has a higher probability at an average of 100 videos a piece over a 3-year period of being able to get you to 100,000 subscribers. So that would be one method. My other method would be to make weird fact of the day YouTube shorts and post those 3 times a day for exactly the same reason. Because overwhelmingly on a long enough timeline, the law of averages just gives me, with that evergreen content being relevant and having a year-long lifespan, I could just fact of the day, fact of the day, fact of the day. By weird fact of the day, I don't mean, oh, this day in history per se. I would just mean like, oh, here's a weird celebrity fact, or I would talk about celebrities, or it's like, oh, here's, the weird thing that happened with this celebrity's divorce. Oh, here's the weird thing that happened with this celebrity and their kid. Oh, here's the weird thing you don't know about Jennifer Aniston. Here's the weird thing you don't know about Martin Lawrence. Here's this thing you don't know about Jim Carrey, blah, blah, blah. And I would just do that because these are people someone already cares about that are more important than me. They care about these people. They really don't give a damn about me, but I'm the host that's bringing them this weird thing that they care about. And so I would milk that. I would do that. 3 videos a day. You never run out of content. Again, the problem is this will work mathematically. It's why there are so many YouTube Shorts channels blowing up right now that have 100,000 to 1 million subscribers and are full-time. This absolutely works. The thing is, you probably will not love your content, but you'll love having a silver play button. So by the numbers, I can tell you what will work. The thing is, what I'm saying can either get you a lot of subscribers or it can make you a lot of money. Here's the thing. You're probably not going to love this process, and you're probably not going to love your content, and some of you might literally hate this, but by the numbers, it will work. Which just basically turns it into every other job, by the way, which is not what a lot of you are looking for, but I know it works. Crowd Salad says, yeah, I would do something similar to the offline TV model, but do remember, offline TV specializes around gaming and gaming culture, and they don't do a lot of IRL content, and they also don't do a lot of content that would fit into the genre of being lifestyle and vlog. If I were to do a content house, my approach to it would be to have each individual creator build a personal brand at what they're good at, but have the live IRL streams and have also an overarching brand that became much more centered toward lifestyle because of the broad audience appeal, which would be the benefit of the MTV model, is you can kind of reach the everyday person at the level that they want, and you can reach across generations and demographics with it to some degree. So it gives you a really good median range between about 18 to 35 of people who will watch this and be interested. So I would do that, and I would probably just cast people that are all about between the ages of 23 and 27, probably in that particular range, because it avoids the massive amounts of liability, and it ensures that contracts are pretty much ironclad and that people have some experience to bring to the table and can be held accountable. So definitely would go much more that route than using 18 to 21. Just too many problems in that, even though they can ratify their contracts. There's just too much that can go wrong. So yeah, so that's how you would do it. I think that the issue with contracts and liability is why MTV stopped doing real world road rules, Jersey Shore type content, was liability and lawsuits. But there's ways to approach it today that would be viable in the online space. So there's ways that you could pull it off. Moogle Media says, hey, Roberto, what about productivity for Black professionals? Would that be a good niche? Yes and no. If you culturally code it for Black people, yes. If you tell people that, hey, this is only for you if you're Black, then no, because then you're basically cutting off viewership and revenue streams and cutting your audience potential down to about 1/10 of what it could be if it just is something that everyone can watch. The thing is that if you could culturally code it Black, everyone will watch it, just like they watch Martin Lawrence, just like they watch Will Smith. Everybody loved that back in the day. So the thing is, there's nothing wrong with making something that's culturally coded for Black people or Latinos or Asians. The main thing is to not tell people that they don't have a right to enjoy it. So productivity is one of the most lucrative niches. You will have less competition for it as a Black professional. But if you want Black people to look at it, I would say you should culturally code it Black, but not explicitly tell people that it's only for Black people to enjoy. Because you wouldn't do that. You would want to take the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air approach to it, and it can be, there's nothing wrong with it being culturally coded for Black people, but being able to be enjoyed by anyone who appreciates Black people and Black culture or professionalism or productivity. And that's a practical way of addressing the issue of representation or inclusion. That would be the pragmatic, appropriate business way of doing it, and I think the most respectful way to do it. So it's more of a by us, everybody enjoy us. Instead of for us, by us, is hey, this is by us. Hey, everybody, come enjoy us. That's how you should, in my mind, approach that sort of thing. If your goal was to have the maximum amount of reach, the maximum amount of support, and the maximum amount of dollars. I think going in a different direction literally cuts that thing to 1/10 of its overall potential. So in general, I like the idea of, I don't believe everything has to be the broadest market possible, but I don't love things unless it's based on, let's say, the market affordability. Market affordability can disqualify people from participating in something, but that one would make sense because the upside of market profitability is, okay, if I only sell something to people with deep pockets, yes, you reach a smaller audience, but you're also guaranteed to make more money. That one makes sense if that would be the barrier, because if you can't afford something, you can't afford something. You know, again, an example of a niche like that is something like the professional camera niche. The professional camera niche doesn't seek to exclude people, but the reality of the price of participating in that niche does. So to participate in wildlife photography, for example, there's not a budget version of doing wildlife photography. Not really. The budget version of doing wildlife photography is like a minimum $2,000 buy-in. So Jesse Chaplin says, hey, Roberto, layered question. I perform magic, do tutorials, review products, and discuss analysis briefly. What niche is this, and where should I be putting my time? Honestly, Jesse, I think your channel says that you're all over the place. I think you need to pick something where two of these things are very, very, very much aligned. I'll be honest with you. If I were you, I would probably just do product reviews and tutorials, and then have the gimmick be that during your tutorial or during your product review, as a gimmick, you work a little bit of magic or close-up magic on screen into the product review just to make it more interesting, more shareable, and more weird. So I would just stick to product reviews and tutorials, but I would make sure they overlap. I would probably go into a product review niche of reviewing tech. And so I'd probably do tech and tutorials, not mention anything at all in your banner or in the channel that you do magic. But then I would just work doing magic tricks into some of the videos as a weird surprise for first-time subscribers and viewers. And then I would just get more subscribers off of doing that. But I do not believe in variety channels. I think variety channels, with the exception of a few people that are the most charismatic and most attractive people in the world, if someone's not a 10 out of 10 in charisma, not a 10 out of 10 in attractiveness at the same time, I don't think they have any business doing a variety channel on YouTube. I think it's a dead end. I think if people want to do their first 100 crappy videos, make a variety channel, get out of their system, say, I did it, I tried, and then watch a lot of those videos, like 80% of those videos fail, then I'm okay with people doing variety on that premise. What I'm not okay with is people being surprised when they fragment or dilute their audience and then they don't get the consistent views they're looking for, and then they get discouraged and quit. Most of the people who quit YouTube never focus on one thing and make 500 videos about one thing. If people would make 500 videos about if they would make 500 videos for one audience that cares about a very specific range of topics that one audience cares about and can come for, and you can demonstrate that you are consistent for 500 videos, you will see some level of moderate success on YouTube. That's typically what happens. Most people will not make 500 good videos, and by good, I mean the acceptable standard of quality for the competitors in their niche that were successful, meaning your videos should be on par with the successful creators on your niche. Once you've done that 500 times, success typically follows because you're supplying more than enough of what is proven to be in demand. YouTube is a numbers game. No matter what people tell you, it is a numbers game with some built-in selection bias and pretty privilege. It is a real thing. So with those things in mind, when you don't have some of them going for you, you do have to play the game by the numbers and by the rules of supply and demand. So my suggestion for you, Jesse, is magic can be a fun gimmick when people are not expecting it. Do tutorials and product reviews probably in the tech niche and shock and surprise people with not your daddy's product reviews by doing magic in them, but don't tell them you're going to do it. Let them be surprised. So the problem for most of you, honestly, is you keep trying to incorporate every single one of your interests, every single one of your hobbies into one YouTube channel, and it is a terrible idea. If you want to express yourself in that way, I strongly recommend do TikTok, do Instagram, build a personal page there, express yourself to your heart's content, and make your YouTube channel a business if you want to be full-time. If you only ever want to be a hobby creator and make a little bit of money on the side, you don't have to take any of my advice, because my advice, if all you want is a hobby and to make a little bit of money on the side, my advice begins and ends with make what you enjoy and have fun and don't worry about growth. My advice for hobby creators begins and ends with make what you enjoy and stop worrying about growth. Have fun. God bless. That's where my advice begins and ends if this is a hobby. Only really watch and pay attention to my channel if you want this to be a career or a side hustle that makes $1,000 a month or more. If you don't want one of those two things, my advice is not good for you. You will not enjoy YouTube. My way of you doing YouTube, my approaches, my methodology, my strategies, they will work to put numbers on the board. They will not make you happy if your goal and priority is to get the maximum enjoyment out of YouTube instead of the maximum amount of benefit out of YouTube. Those are very important distinctions. I am always upfront and obvious about that. And I'm very transparent about the fact that I believe YouTube can be a full-time career and it can be a business. Should it be that for people? If you're under 25, you probably don't like my advice. You probably don't like me. You probably think I'm full of crap, and you probably think I'm a sellout, and you probably hate me because I'm an evil capitalist pig. But everyone over 25 with bills, responsibilities, and kids loves me because I'm putting money on the table. So I'm helping you get more money on the table, helping you secure the bag, helping you pay these bills. So people over 25 tend to like me. Most people under 25 hate my guts. Some of them are exceptions. Some of y'all on the chat right now and on the replay, you're under 25 and you absolutely love me. Most of your peers don't get along with you because they think you care about money too much. There's probably no such thing right now in this economy. There's no such thing as liking money too much. So yeah, inflation be like that. So yeah, absolutely. I make no bones about it. I'm here to help you go full time as a content creator on social media. I'm not here to maximize your fun and enjoyment. I'm not here to cheerlead you. I'm not here to coddle you. I'm not here to hold your hand. There are plenty of other people who will do that for you. It is not me. I will encourage you. I will give you tough love. I will give you my honest opinion. I will give you whatever data points or facts I have at my disposal, but I will not be here trying to make sure you have the most fun doing all of this. I will try to make sure you have the right balance doing this for your mental health. But I will not sit here and I will not prioritize making YouTube fun at the expense of making it sustainable and profitable and getting the maximum benefit out of it. Because that's just not my shtick. Because I'm 40 and I pay a mortgage. I think that I will leave that to the 25-year-old YouTube coaches, and they can help you optimize for fun. Anzel Fernandez says, hey, Roberto, I watched since 2015. Wanted to be a graphic designer as my main trade, but still to this day, the same as in 2015, still dreaming, but you inspired me since before. So what I would tell someone in this situation is, if it's been 9 or 10 years, one, I would reevaluate. I'd look at why do you want to do this and what has stopped you. I don't think in the last 10 years there's any particular thing that could have or should have stopped you if your dream was to be a graphic designer. There's a lot of avenues you could go. You could go to community college and get a degree and an associate's in graphic design. That could open up opportunities. Or over the last 10 years, you can build a portfolio and a body of work. There are plenty of opportunities to do this freelancing on Upwork and Fiverr and to start to build out assets and resources. There are a lot of ways to hustle your way into client services and getting freelance clients. I've been actually thinking of putting some freelance material back out on the channel because it's a good way to make money, and a lot of people could be freelancing for content creators. So the thing is, I don't think you need to be dreaming. I think that you need a plan of execution on how to do this. So Hansel Fernandez, if you're still watching, I'm going to tell you exactly how to accomplish being a graphic designer if it's your trade and you want to really finally change this over the next 3 years. Here is your plan, Hansel, or for any of you watching, if you want to be a graphic designer or a creative services professional, like a designer, a graphic designer, for example, or even a freelance video editor. Here's what you need to do. Number one, find 3 to 5 professional, full-time graphic designers that you admire. Look at the niches of graphic design. You could go into print production and do what I used to do for a living. Billboards, television and movie posters, OOH. You'll have to go through an agency or be a great freelancer of record to probably do that or make some connections, but it's possible. Okay, so that's one version. Some people are digital artists and graphic illustrators. I've done some of that work, but there are people who specialize exclusively in that. Look at the best work from people in that portfolio, and this is going to be important later. Or you could look at logo design and branding, and you could say, okay, that's more of what I want to do. Or you could look at package design and you could say, okay, that's what I want to do. Pick a speciality of graphic design that you know that you're really interested in and that you're fully capable of doing. Find 10 people's body of work and portfolio, look at their standards, look at what they have. Now, if you aren't currently at a level of skill where you know you can do those things, your first task is to get together these people's bodies of work and get 30 to 50 pieces from them together. And your goal is to train yourself to recreate as close as possible an exact duplicate of these 30 to 50 pieces of perfect work by the best people in the world. Your goal is not to necessarily put that copycat work in your portfolio. It's for you to get the skill level to have a method for recreating the best work that anyone's ever paid for so that you have the proper skill. If you were trying to be a YouTuber, I would tell you to watch your favorite YouTubers and write and document every single editing technique that they use, what transitions they use, what animations they use, whatever, and also their whole visual style. And I would tell you, okay, pick like 10 YouTubers that you really, really love and admire. And if you want to be a better filmmaker and better editor, try to recreate their best YouTube video that you really liked. Like recreate a full Casey Neistat vlog with every single skit and every single segment, his Q&A, the motion from doing the skateboarding. Like try to recreate every single scene in a one Casey video. Try to recreate the feeling of a Casey video, not so you can post it to YouTube, although that's been done by people like my friend Sarah Dici, but so that you can say, I now know exactly what I have to do to produce the same technique in filming and in editing and in storyboarding and positioning. And now I know and understand the method and the thinking and the thought process and the conceptualization behind how Casey makes a vlog. I now understand these techniques. I now looked up the words. I know what they mean. It's the same thing with graphic design. Find 5-10 graphic designers, get a collective of 30 to 50 pieces of great award-winning or high-paid or famous work. Learn the process step by step until you're able to reproduce exact copies of that work with like a different photo or stand-in stuff, but recreate those layouts and do this over and over so you understand the technique. Imitation is how you do this, just like martial arts. You would practice the katas, you would practice the motions, the movements, you would get your posture right, you would get the timing of the strikes right, you would do it all through mimicry and imitation. So this now gives you the foundational skill of something that people actually like, instead of you imagining that what you are capable of is what people like. No, you actually are just technically capable of making what people like. So now you have the technical ability, but maybe you don't have the creative ability and imagination. So now you have to practice the skill of ideation to get there, and that's true for YouTube and it's true for graphic design. Now you kind of see why YouTube and graphic design overlap for me, because the creative process is similar and the technical process is similar. So then what do you do? Okay, Roberto, that's great. Once I get ideation, I have the technical ability, how do I get clients? How do I make money? I'm going to tell you all a secret, just like I did for brand deals. If you're a graphic designer, you find someone who's already paying another person for work that is not as good as yours, and then you approach them. If they say no, you've done your homework and research, you literally go to their next 2 or 3 competitors and offer the same service. Because if you find someone who already has a budget, so what do I mean by this? You find somebody, you want to do book cover design, you find a published author that already has 2 or 3 books and is putting out a 4th book, and you ask to be the designer for their 4th book, and you show them your portfolio and what you can do and tell them your price. Because they have to hire someone to do their book cover design. Show them that you would do a better job and that you can match the price or do it cheaper or do it better. So then, oh, now you have a book cover client. Then you go in another and another and another. And there you go. You find someone with a budget. The reason you find someone with a budget is they're not going to haggle you. They're not going to lowball you, and they can pay you. For you YouTubers out there, for you influencers and content creators, it's the same thing. You find 10 influencers bigger or the same size as you or the market leaders. You write down and you do the research. You research hashtag ad, hashtag sponsored. You find all the people who are sponsoring these people. Then you have a list of contacts Now you know, here are the sponsors in my niche that pay creators like me money and keep paying creators like me. These are the points of contact that I go after. So you go after people who already have a budget. That's the easiest way to find paying clients. Find someone who's already paying for that work, now become somebody that they're paying. Simple. So you do that. So that's the easiest way to get clients besides referrals in the network of people that you know. That's the easiest way. Of course, you can still go out and you could try and find other avenues for clients. You can use websites, you can use job boards, you can do all of those things. I'm telling you, the fastest way is to find someone already paying for projects and get the next project and be their vendor of record. So that's one way you approach it. The reason that I'm telling you to do all of this instead of submit a job application to at an ad agency or a firm is that by getting paying clients and building a professional body of work and negotiating your own rates, you're putting yourself in a position where you're already a practicing graphic designer. Whether you have a degree or not, you have referrals, you have a body of work, you have a rate card, you understand negotiating, you understand the lingo, you understand the jargon, which means you are easier to get a position either as a contractor and vendor of record or as a potential lead designer at an ad agency. I would know because I did it. So then you're able to get the job without the degree, because I'll tell you what a business owner thinks, aka a business owner. Here's what a business owner thinks. I need someone who can absolutely prove to me that they have the skills to do this and are confident in doing it and are capable, and who I will not have to sit over their shoulder or hold their hand or help them. I want somebody who can just do the bloody thing that I asked them to do without me babysitting them. I want to be able to go on vacation and go skiing and leave the project in their hands and then pay them a tenth of what the company or clients paid me for doing it by just owning the company. That's what a business owner's thinking. So that's what my old boss did. So what you do in that situation is you make yourself the best option possible. And the best option possible is not that college kid who has the fancy degree from FIT or School of Visual Arts or from SCAD. What you do is you get to be the person who beats all those college kids out by very simply, you beat them in the marketplace. And the way you do that is by very simply proving that you do not need the extra help and hand holding and supervision, and that you can execute on your own. The proof of that without the degree is you having a body of work and client referrals, because a business owner respects other business owners. They do not respect professors. Your professor vouching for you means nothing to a business owner. Somebody that paid you money out of their own pocket vouching for you means everything to a business owner. A business owner respects another business owner. They do not respect an academic that gave you a grade. They respect a customer that paid you money. So that's how you approach this, and that's how you become a graphic designer, Hansel. And that was your free 15-minute life-changing, career-changing consult from Roberto. So, and I appreciate you for watching me for like nearly 10 years. So my gift and thank you back to you for doing that is I'm literally telling you the specific and exact advice you need to finally have your dream career in graphic design. Because if you haven't manifested in 9 years, I think the thing that you were lacking was maybe you were consuming a lot of information, but the ability to execute. I gave you a plan. I gave you a thing to do. So you need to get those skills if you don't already have them, demonstrate your ability to do work, and then you need to build a body and portfolio of work, and you need to get clients and you need to get referrals. And then from there, you can write your own ticket into a full-time job as a graphic designer. And this is exactly the methodology and the process you need. It worked for me. It still works for people in the industry today. When I talk to a lot of friends, it still works when I give other people advice or mentorship that have come to me asking me in personal life about this sort of thing. I watch it happen all the time. And to a degree, even though not for a graphic design position, it is how my longest standing contractor got her job with me, being the operations manager for Awesome Creator Academy. Is she was smart enough to use this same process, not for a graphic design gig, but for my operations manager gig. So, there you go. By the way, for those of you who are YouTubers or content creators and you kind of got a little bored along the way there, everything I just told Hansel about how you get clients is how you get brand deals and how you get UGC work, or how you get work working for a YouTuber. Gardening with Bear Brown says, hey, Roberto, should content creators focus on writing a book? Interesting question. If so, should they wait to release it until they have a large following? So you can release a book at any time with a following or not a following. And the thing is, if your goal was to make money versus being a bestseller, then you can always sell your book from day zero. And as you grow an audience, the book sales also grow. I've known plenty of friends to do this. Gillian Perkins did it successfully. So a lot of people can do it. I wrote a book called Create Something Awesome, How Creators Are Profiting from Their Passion, the Creator Economy. If you want to be a full-time content creator, highly recommend you buy it. It's $9.99 in Amazon for ebook. It's $14.99 for the paperback. So you can get the collector's edition hardcover for $24.99. So there's a plug. Link is in the description. The thing I would say is a content creator who's a thought leader should probably write a book. A content creator who's an entertainer doesn't need to worry about it. For a content creator that's an entertainer, they're probably better off making merch. The reason is the margin on ebook sales is about $6 to $7 profit with Amazon KDP. Basically, no matter what you do, it's somewhere between, as long as you price your ebook at $9.99 and your paperback at $14.99 and your hardcover at $24.99, your profit margin will be between basically $6 and $8, basically no matter what, as long as you sell it full price without a discount. So that will be the profit margin. Here's the thing. That works if you're a thought leader who people pay attention to. So it works if you're a thought leader, you're doing education content, you do a podcast, you're a writer on X, you have a newsletter, people care about what you think and what your words are, and it has an impact on them. If you're a thought leader, you write a book, and it'll be the best merch you ever make, and it will sell, and you probably get thousands of people to buy it at some point. 99% of self-published authors never sell 100 copies, but if you're a thought leader, you'll sell at least 1,000 copies, if not thousands of copies. And so, yes, if you want to be a bestseller for New York Times, Wall Street Journal, you have to sell 5 to 10,000 copies at first month of launch. Which, to do that, you need to do a bunch of pre-orders, which would mean you would want an audience. If your goal is to be a New York Times or Wall Street Journal best-selling author, then yeah, you wait till you have a big audience and you wait till you can get like a couple thousand pre-orders, and you get pre-orders for 3 to 6 months before you release the book. You do a big thing where you go on a bunch of podcasts in your niche. That's how you would approach it. But if you just want to make money and cash flow, then your book becomes your merch, and you do a ebook, a paperback, a hardcover, and you call the hardcover the collector's edition, and you probably do an audiobook. Then you do your own summary of the book that's about 45 minutes, summary of the book. You release that summary as a video on YouTube, where it is audio, but also with animated closed captions. You turn that into a ebook and audiobook summary of your own book, so other people don't do it and try to rip you off. And so then now you have multiple SKUs, and basically get about 7-8 SKUs out of that. So now you have technically 7-8 products out of one product, and that's how you would do it. Later, if it makes sense and you have an international audience, you translate that and you have it dubbed in the other thing, and then you have even more SKUs, and so then you have a multiplier. So you only do that if you're a thought leader. If you're an entertainer and an influencer, and you make fun, entertaining content, you're probably just better off making t-shirts, hats, and hoodies, because the margin will be the same. So, and you'll sell that because your entertainment brand aligns to consumerism. A thought leader brand doesn't align as much to consumerism, but leans toward intellectualism. So selling books, workbooks, planners, productivity related stuff, stationery, that works. So, yep. Bridal Sewing says, "Hey Roberto, what do you mean that reactions are safer than news? News itself has a higher risk of demonetization. Reactions, if you source them from reaction-friendly content creators and channels, and if you react to more than one video in your video, it has a harder time of being claimed or demonetized, especially if it's something popular enough. So I would argue that I've seen less reaction channels that react in the way that I'm talking about with social commentary stuff with a bit of humor in it. I've seen less of those channels be vulnerable to takedowns than purely news channels that are political and have a political bend to them. Also, certain news entities don't like people reacting to or covering their footage, as you already know, based on some of your background, Jen. SMA Sky says, "Hey Roberto, views are more important than subs as far as I've heard. Having subs doesn't necessarily mean views will come along with it. Not every sub will watch regularly." So I used to share this view, but I think it depends on your goals and I think it depends on your business model. So I actually think it depends on your business model. Here is actually another bit of divergent thought from me. I think if you're an influencer doing entertainment content, views matter more than subs. I think if you're a thought leader, subs matter more than views. Here's why. If you are somebody who, for example, let's say that you are Chris Do, my friend Chris Do from the future, and he's one of the leading creative entrepreneurs in the world. They have over 2 million subscribers at the future. They get a massive amount of channel views, but the individual views per upload are very slow. They do very deep and niche important topics that are very important, but here's the catch. Do you think that most people in the world and most people on YouTube want to build a creative agency, a social media marketing agency, be a professional video editor, be a professional animator, be a professional graphic designer? The answer is probably no. Most people don't want to start a business. And then even if they want to start an online business, they want to get rich quick, which means they don't really want to watch a Chris Do video, because a Chris Do video is dependent on you building a technical and creative skill and having to do client work instead of sell a product. Therefore, even among business channels, even around online business or make money online channels, even around career development channels, the topics that Chris and his team will authentically cover that will be high value, high quality content will not have broad appeal. It will not have broad appeal. They have a high subscriber count because the variety of people who did watch subscribed and vouched for him. That gives him status and authority as a market leader, and they will not, nor do they need to, watch every single Chris Do video, because not every single Chris Do video is for specific to the problem that their career or business has. The problem with YouTube is that most people on YouTube watch entertainment and are entertainers. If you're a creator on YouTube, there's an 80 to 9% chance you're an entertainer and not a thought leader. So that'd make you an influencer. And most people are consumers. They're not builders. Therefore, most people are trying to consume and waste time and be entertained and have a dopamine hit. They're not trying to improve their life in any meaningful way. And if they are, it's probably, since they already have a job, most people are not focused on building a business or starting a career, since most people don't think business is for them, or that most businesses fail, which most businesses do. So you have to look at it from that perspective. So from that perspective, they can't get repeat viewers for every video or most of their videos. It wouldn't make sense for the viewer. They'd be wasting their time, and they're not going to act on all of it because they can't act on all of it. And still run a successful business. It's no different than my content. Not every single video is for every single creator because it doesn't apply to the problem they have today. Not all of you do green screen, so you can't watch my Adobe Premiere green screen tutorial because it doesn't apply to you. Not all of you use Premiere Pro. Some of you use DaVinci Resolve or CapCut or Final Cut Pro, so you can't watch that video. Only entertainers can really have continuity of every subscriber or every viewer returning to watch videos and then matter to them, because it's just entertainment. There are no stakes. There are no stakes. It's you like it or you don't, or you came for the personality, or you got time to waste, or you like them being goofy, whatever it is. You can watch their videos infinitely, and you can watch them repeatedly, and you can watch them for no reason. You don't need to justify it. You have to justify watching thought leader content, meaning it has to apply to you. So the rule of views mattering or returning viewers mattering does not apply to a thought leader at all. It does not. I'll give you another example. If someone runs a medical channel like Dr. Sten Ekberg, he's a doctor. If he has a video on allergies and you don't have any allergies, you have no business watching that video. You can't watch that video. You're wasting your time, and you're not necessarily wasting his time, but you are maybe skewing his analytics and stats because he didn't make that video for you because you don't have allergies. If he makes a video about diabetes and you don't have diabetes, why the hell are you watching that video? It doesn't make any sense. So thought leaders don't really need subscribers to watch their videos. They need people watching their videos to subscribe and validate them with authority that says, this person made at least one piece of content that really, really helped me, because that's a form of social proof that gives that person status and legitimacy that says that that thought leader is authentic, that thought leader is giving good, realistic information, that person is truthful, and that person really created some value. So if you're a thought leader, subscribers matter more than views. If you're an influencer, views matter more than subscribers. Okay, Roberto, but I thought YouTube pays us on our views, so why don't views matter? And I thought that sponsors care about views, so why would subscribers matter? For thought leaders, they don't have to really always get views to get better brand deals than people who do get views. Because for a thought leader, the authority and endorsement that they give carries authority and weight to a much more affluent audience, so they don't need the broad reach, the scale, or the appeal. They need the authority within the niche. And the brand is not looking for them to have reach. The brand is looking for them to co-sign them. The brand wants to borrow legitimacy from the thought leader. Influencers sell their reach. Thought leaders sell their reputation. That's the difference. So an influencer, views are more important than subscribers. A thought leader, subscribers are more important than views. Because the difference is one person sells attention, one person sells authority. One person sells reach, the other person sells reputation. Difference in the value created. Difference in the perception of value. And for the most part, the far majority of doctors, lawyers, surgeons, real estate agents on YouTube don't compete with the likes of the top leading gamer, professional gamer in Clash Royale or Brawl Stars, professional Fortnite player. More people know the names of the most famous gamers and entertainers. More people know the name of IShowSpeed than all of the YouTube doctors combined. It doesn't necessarily inherently mean, though, and yes, IShowSpeed's endorsement could do a lot for consumer brands, but IShowSpeed will not be able to influence someone affluent to make a high stakes purchase, not in a broad group of people over 40, probably not. However, Dr. Mike probably could. Dr. Stan Ekberg probably could. Lawyers like Emily D. Baker and Devin Stone Legal Eagle probably could. Dr. Chris Rayner might be able to. Like, there's, lead attorney. These are people who might be able to influence life-changing decisions and purchases. whereas the entertainment influencers can do smaller stakes, bigger scale. Smaller stakes, bigger scale, bigger stakes, smaller scale. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody. At some point, I will do some kind of breakdown. It might be on a Wednesday or a Friday where I really break down the difference between an influencer and a thought leader, which basically is the difference between an entertainer and an educator, and what the opportunities and the difference are, and what each one's pros and cons are, and how to identify which one you're more of. A lot of people argue for edutainment. I think edutainment is okay if you're doing something like camera or product reviews. I think it's okay if you're doing music stuff to be an edutainer. I think that that works. I think if you're doing something like pop science, that it works. Here's where I don't agree with edutainment. I don't think that career development channels should be edutainment. I think it's okay if personal development channels are edutainment because I think that has a limited amount of damage it can do. I don't think financial influencers should do entertainment and edutainment at all because I believe the damage that could happen from them chasing the same high as an entertainment YouTuber, thinking, hey, I'm just a regular old YouTuber, when people's financial advice could mean they lose their home or their life savings or their retirement. I don't think that financial education channels should dabble in entertainment. I think they should just give straight advice and not try to be that appealing or try to go too far on clickbait or charisma. I think that they should just give the most solid and sober advice they possibly can, because I just think the potential for risk and harm is too high. And I think it's okay for them to have consumer grade sponsors like Manscaped. I don't think it's okay for them to recommend financial products. Question, Roberto, is an AI faceless shorts channel content still profitable? I wouldn't risk it because regulations are coming. And then even YouTube itself has policy crackdowns. I would not risk it. Bridal Sewing says 9K subs to go till I get my silver play button. Well, congratulations. You're well on your way to being another silver play button creator, and I will be here to welcome you into the 100K club when that happens. So there you go. Yeah, you'll get it, Bridal Sewing. I mean, you've coached with me. Jen from Sewing Report has coached with me. You know, I'm sure you'll get it. 7 years of content creation, 600 videos. Yep, you'll get it. You'll get it. It took me like 800 and something videos, but I did those in 3 years by speed running it with daily content, though. DIY with Gabriel says, hey, Roberto, is it better to pivot from an already established subscriber base to just create a new channel if you'll have a different content? If it's a completely different audience, yes. For example, if you're doing DIY right now and you wanted to move into gaming or tech or men's personal development, it's a completely different audience. Make it a completely different channel. Make a completely different channel. Think of these like restaurants. If you're going to have a sushi place and then you say, you know what? I decided to become a vegan or whatever. Don't try and put a vegan like restaurant inside the sushi restaurant. Just go to the other shop bet and start another restaurant and just own both properties. So just do that. Just start another channel. I believe one audience, one channel. Now, again, I've tried the opposite of that in my early YouTube career. Did not work nearly as well as one would hope. And back then, YouTube was more forgiving than it is right now about that sort of thing. So, and it's not really the platform's fault. It's that audience psychology is a specific way, and people are very particular in their biases and preferences. And so the easiest thing is, lowest common denominator wise, is to focus on one group of people and only cater to that group of people, and to have the benefits of psychology and tribalism. Read the book by Patrick Hanlon, Primal Branding. Highly recommend it. Every content creator should read it. And yeah, it's incredibly powerful. So that's what I would say about that. Yes, learning, professionalism, all takes time. Hey, Roberto, who's going to Vid Summit? Roberto, will you be there again this year? Yes, I'll be there with Kajabi, which actually, that reminds me. Thank you to our sponsors, Kajabi and OpusClip. I will be at Vid Summit. I will be there with the Kajabi team. I will be there with the OpusClip team. So thank you to Kajabi and OpusClip for sponsoring the channel and the stream. Really appreciate you. Links are in the description down below for both of those. Yeah, I'll be at Vid Summit again. So I'll be doing a talk on being a full-time content creator. It'll be different than this presentation because it's going to have more in-depth case studies. So yeah. So that makes a thing. Paris Tube says, I used to be the person following people for years and not achieving results. I call it thinkers, but had to transition to being a doer. Do I have seasons for taking in info and seasons for taking action? That's actually a really important lesson. A lot of times you can consume, and you can say, I'm going to get the education, I'm going to learn, but you have to do. Life has an action bias. Content has an action bias. Just do the damn thing. Just do the thing, and that is the thing that has the most bias in life, and you will make mistakes. There will be failure along the way. I'm not promising or guaranteeing that will all be sunshine, rainbows, or success, but life has an action bias. Shoot more shots, do more things, take more chances, learn from your mistakes. Tiffany Howard says, Roberto, I struggle with what to focus on my channel. I've been considering my style development journey, entering my 50s, working a full-time job, and building my side hustles and vlogging. I would focus on one of two things. I would make a decision. In your case, Tiffany, I'd make a decision. Is YouTube going to be my second career and the thing that I do as my second career that I really enjoy, or is YouTube an outlet and hobby to express myself and to share my journey? You have to pick one. So that will determine your focus. And you have to be very serious about what you want and what's realistic. If YouTube is a hobby for you and a way to express yourself, and your biggest priority, if your biggest priority, Tiffany, is you want to document your journey of being a woman in her 50s, you don't have to change anything, and you don't have to grow the channel, and it doesn't have to be successful. You can have a small tribe of people who are supporting your journey and your expression, and you can be very happy with that. If the only thing you want from this is expression and to document your journey, if it's the only thing you want, or if it's the most important thing for you, then I would actually give up growth and not care about it and say that this is my journey, this is what it is, I'm putting it out, come what may, hell or high water, and that's it, and not care about the results, if that is the most important thing for you. So you have to make a decision if that's the case. However, if the most important thing for you is you need or want this to be a career or a new source of income because that will help you affect a situation in your life, then you will have to treat it like a business and treat it like a career, which means that you will have to be ruthless about it and do what works and only what works and nothing more, which you may not be willing to do, which means that I would figure out how to optimize for making money at something that doesn't require the same level of emotional divestment or emotional overlap. And so I would either figure out that I do want this thing to be expression, and I do want this thing to be authentic to me, and if I try to make money at it, I probably will make compromises I don't like. If that were true, then I would just keep it as a passion and not profit from it. And then if I still needed something to change my life, I would find something that I can profit from and be more ruthless about and not be as emotionally invested in. That way I can do what I need to do with the least compromises and emotional sacrifice. So hopefully that makes sense. And hopefully that is a teachable moment for everybody else in the stream or watching the replay of this. Is that's what I believe, which is why sometimes you don't want to profit from your number one thing you're passionate about. You want to profit from like your number 3 or 4 passion, so that's something you like that you can make money at and not hate. but that you also don't care if you have to be more ruthless or pragmatic about it, because it doesn't hurt your heart nearly as much because it's only number 4 and you're not compromising on your number 1. So that's what I believe. KB Holden says, how often should a band, artist, musician post content? It depends on what your situation is, because the most important thing for a band, musician, or artist is to probably prioritize making their music. Therefore, I'm not sure why the YouTube channel is a priority. If it's a nice to have, then it doesn't matter. If YouTube is going to be a priority for a band or musician or artist, I might need more details as to why, because the music and the in-person live performances and focusing on the music and the distribution and the production probably should come first. YouTube would, in my mind, be a very, very big distraction to that, unless the band is already very successful, in which case it makes sense from a marketing standpoint to benefit from it. But if the band is an indie band that's not really as successful or making money off the music already, I would focus on doing that with the least effort possible, which means other social media, which might lean much more to TikTok and Instagram content than YouTube content, if that was the case. And then at how often should it be? It would mostly be doing it for promo and what works and what makes sense or what's low lift, or getting a social media manager for the band and making it their problem and making them decide what their bandwidth for posting is and what makes sense and what's working. So I really feel like musicians should focus on their music. I think that if it comes to the social media marketing aspect, that somebody should be in charge of the social media marketing and the musicians should focus on their music. So without more details, that would be my thought on it. Michelle Gaynor says, hey, Roberto, I feel that the subs are more important than views. Point applies to me specifically because I'm developing a podcast based on my books, which have made me more of a thought leader on my subject versus being an influencer. Yeah, so it would absolutely, Michelle, apply to you in that regard. And so until I really started building the thought leader versus influencer dichotomy into my thesis and philosophy of content creation, it was hard for me to figure out, okay, wait, because there were so many of these trade-offs and nuances of, okay, views matter for this, subs matter for this, but then, oh, here's this exception. And I realized the exceptions that I was coming up with actually all had a clear delineation point based on what the niche and content and business model was. And then I looked at that and then I realized, okay, so there's two types of influencers here. Then wait, no. Why am I using even the word influencer? There are two types of creators here, and there's a creator who is an influencer / entertainer type, and then there's the thought leader, educator type. Oh, got it. And so by creating these two different creator identities, I was able to reconcile a lot of the why do these things work for some people and why do these things work for anyone. And I was able to come up with more or less a rule set or framework that says, okay, here are best practices, rule sets, and frameworks for influencers who make entertainment style content. And then here are rule sets and frameworks and best practices for people who make thought leader content. And there you go. The closest thing to a hybrid sometimes here, ironically, is not edutainment. The hybrid actually comes closer more to very specific lifestyle channels. So lifestyle, especially, I would argue, women's lifestyle content that is more like the aesthetic vlog-like content and those type of things. That is kind of both parenting vlogs, not really family vlogs, but vlogs that have a parenting dynamic that is like, hey, I'm teaching you how to be a first-time parent. That's another lifestyle type channel that's just an example of what I'm talking about that has elements of both. But the majority of niches, like 80 to 90% of niches, do not really overlap in that way. They really are more one thing than the other. So that very limited lifestyle exception, I don't like bringing it up because it really is an exception among exceptions. But yeah. So yeah, influencer versus thought leader is a very interesting thing. And I don't think I've seen other creator educators bring it up besides me, but you know, it's one of the most important theses that I think I've really put forward, along with make 100 crappy videos, big creator energy, value first creator. I think that the 80-20 rule of YouTube, the 1% rule of YouTube, I think these are some of my best nuggets that I've ever put out. But the thought leader versus influencer is a really important one. Brian Weber says, I'm 7 months in with 6K watch hours. Congratulations on that, but only 530 subs. Should I start to do some shorts just to get the 1K subs and to get some more social proof? If you've gotten that much watch time, I don't think your issue is shorts. I think it's probably not having a call to action for subscribers. I'm more curious as to how many videos you made that accomplished that and what their average views are. I would say it's not really about you doing shorts, and shorts doesn't guarantee you'll get more subscribers from that. I think it really is that most of you could improve your subscriber count by having a more effective call to action to ask people to subscribe to the channel. So I think that that would help a lot of you. Jameson Montgomery says, hey, Roberto, I'm experiencing a situation where my shorts video went viral and I gained 48K subs, and now suddenly I'm losing subscribers every day, even though I'm posting similar shorts to what went viral. So I wouldn't worry about it, Jameson. I know that you're like, wow, I'm like halfway to a silver play button. Why am I losing subscribers? Losing subscribers is natural. And if you gained 48K subs practically overnight, I wouldn't take losing a few every couple of days or week that personally. Don't take it personally, take it professionally. And it's not a problem for you to solve. Just keep chugging and making content, because you could have another video go viral and that could literally catapult you to 100K. You could have other videos just start trending upward. If you got somewhere fast, don't worry about like what happens, because it's not something bad or horrible happening to you that you're losing subscribers. You got 48,000 overnight. If you're not losing 1,000 subscribers a day, I probably wouldn't worry about it. So, you know, first of all, congratulations on getting 48,000 subscribers just like that out of nowhere on, some viral short form. So if you had a couple of shorts go viral and you popped up with subscribers, just keep posting. It could happen again. And then all of a sudden you'll have 100,000, 200,000 subscribers. It's natural when you gain subs fast to lose subs fast. So it's one of those, it's a roller coaster, and that's kind of the shorts experience. It's also the viral video experience. Is if you go viral, what goes up comes down, and it'll just be this roller coaster ride, and it is what it is. Also, a lot of people just ape into subscribing to viral video creators just to do it. Hey, K-Pop Clara. Yeah, it was good to meet you in New York while I was at the Supercell event in NYC. So good hanging out. It's always flattering for somebody to call you your hero. But I'm just a guy on the internet. Truth Sector says, great live. Comments are informative as well. Yeah, we have a great community here. We've got some of the smartest people in the comment section, believe it or not, and in the live chat. So I actually really enjoy that about my community. And I actually really like that I've attracted a very educated community. Jesse Chaplin says, I'm considering starting a second channel when switching paths. I didn't do that years ago when I started Magic. I just posted my toy review channel. Now I have twice as many Magic videos, but the old content makes more money. I'd maybe pivot to whichever thing is. I mean, again, it depends on why you're doing something. Depends on your life circumstances, right? For me, when I wanted to approach doing content, for the most part, it wasn't as much of an outlet for me. There was some elements of it being an outlet of wanting some acknowledgement for my thoughts, my skills, my ability to communicate information, somewhat. But I also wanted to use that to attract to me clients that would make me money. Even in the early days of YouTube, I was a full-time freelancer and I was making content for brands. And by that, I mean, I would do everything from the video editing for ads for brands. Now, this wouldn't necessarily be for their YouTube channel. It would be for their actual ads. So I would do the video editing for ads, similar to how when I worked at the agency, I would do graphic design. I left a marketing position at a IT company. So since I left a marketing position at a tech company and I became a full-time freelancer, I was doing all kinds of client services at the time. So I was a marketing mercenary, let's say. So with that in mind, my content on YouTube did attract clients and opportunities for me to do work for other people's companies, aka brands. And eventually that led to me doing social media marketing and social media account management for brands, but also video or design work for them. So I set out to do YouTube for profit, but not from ad revenue and not necessarily from sponsorship, but through clients in the beginning. Later, that would evolve to doing YouTube and doing work with brands and sponsors and even UGC on their platforms. And it would evolve eventually into me coaching other content creators and not just doing consulting for brands. So, and doing public speaking and workshops and eventually writing my book and doing some digital products. The next thing for us is to actually start doing courses, which I hadn't done full-blown $500 courses until now. We're going to actually start doing that. We're going to start that with a brand deals course. And the reason I want to do a brand deals course is because if someone pays $600 for a brand deals course, they can actually make the money back. So it just felt like the most realistic course to make, because brand deals is actually really hard. And there's a lot of things you could learn about it that are very difficult to find for free on the internet. Even if the videos exist, it's not curated in a way that you'd find it. Most people don't know what questions to ask when it comes to learning how to do brand deals. So one, they would never type those things into YouTube or Google anyway, so they wouldn't find the information, even if it's out there. And then there's also some very detailed, specific information that no one will watch because it's boring, like the contract stuff. No one watches the videos about contracts. I've tried it. People don't watch it because it's boring, but people who really are serious and buy a course on brand deals would watch it. My point being, and I bring this up because of the question about, okay, well, this other content makes more money, is my advice to most content creators who want to be full-time, and it depends on your situation. If you like your job, you like your career, it pays the bills, and YouTube's just fun for you, then you should just do YouTube for fun, and who cares? I don't care if you enjoy your job and you're not trying to get out of your job or quit your job or build a business. You just do YouTube for fun, and then no one has to watch my advice on that. If you want to do YouTube for fun, if you want to do YouTube for fun, you don't need it to make money. You don't need it to be profitable. You don't have to justify your hobbies. I don't believe, look, if you want to have a hobby and you do pay all your bills and your family's taken care of and everything is fine financially, you never have to justify a hobby to me or anybody in your life. You should be able to play video games, go hiking, go swimming, or even if you want to make content and spend 10 hours a week on it, as long as it doesn't take away from your family, as long as your kids aren't upset with you, as long as your significant other isn't upset with you, and as long as your life is stable and happy and comfortable, you can have whatever hobby you want 10 hours out of the week as long as everyone in your family is okay with it. And you don't have to justify it to anybody. However, that's if your life situation is fine and you're not trying to do something different. If you want to be a full-time content creator and part of your reason is you don't like the money you make, you don't like the lack of control that you have, or the lack of options, or the lack of ownership, or the lack of emotionally being satisfied by what you do, and you want to make money at it, then sure, you can approach professional full-time content creation. But in that situation, my priority will be do what makes money, at least initially, not what is fun. And part of the reason is I do think for the sacrifices, time investment, the money you have to throw into hardware and software, the hours of work, those things do, if you have to do that and do your full-time job, do take away from your family, or they do take away from yourself and your personal development. They do take away from personal satisfaction, self-care, socializing. They take away time from a significant other or kids or other things. That one is hard to justify if it doesn't make money. So if you're trying to make that change, then it has to be worth it. Therefore, I don't care what you enjoy the most if that's your goal, because I think that it should be what has the most potential to make money, because it should have the most potential to either take care of your family or change your situation. But that's a philosophy that I believe, and I don't expect everyone to agree with that, but that is where my advice will come from. My advice will come from that idea that maybe we pick our number 3 or 4 or even 5 passion, just something we don't hate doing, but is wildly profitable for us to do and ethical for us to do, because I think we have a responsibility to make sure that our family is taken care of and that our sacrifices are worth it, or that doesn't put us in a position that makes our life itself more challenging because we're chasing having fun. But that's because I have a very responsibility-driven ethos and philosophy about life, and about responsibility being a high priority for me. Not everyone will agree with that, so I don't think my advice will resonate with everybody, and it may not be good advice for people. But that's why if YouTube has to be fun for you, and it's most important for it to be a fun hobby for you, and you just like it to make money or like it to get subscribers, my advice begins and ends with do what you enjoy and have fun. Make what you like and have fun, and don't worry about growth if this is a hobby and fun is the most important thing for you. That is where my advice begins and ends if you are a hobby creator. And there's nothing wrong with making content on the side as a hobby, and that's that. I'm not judging it any more than if you want to play Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, Warcraft. I don't care. You are entitled to have a hobby if you are meeting all of your financial responsibilities. But if you want to be a full-time content creator, I would prioritize what makes it the easiest to go full-time, which means I would prioritize what makes the most money, or has the most money-making potential, and has the most diverse career portfolio of income, and has the most ways to make money. So that is what I believe in. So for the music channel stuff, KP Bolden was saying, I'm referring to music videos, live show footage as content. Live show footage when you can, and if you can get the audio to be good, then yes. Meaning if you could get the live feed audio to be the audio for the live stream, then yes. I don't believe in just filming it from a phone. So I would try to go, if I'm going to do live show footage, high production live show footage, or I wouldn't bother. Music videos I would use as promo, and I would try to get other people to promote or react to the music video. I would tell YouTubers in the description, stuff like that, hey, I won't strike your video if you react to my music video. I would reach out to reaction channels and to music reaction channels and say, hey, free content, copyright strikes or nothing, here you go, and I'll give you a license and all that, and you can react to it and whatever. And so I would do everything to try to get attention for it if you're going to do it. But again, I don't know how much of a priority it should be for the band members and the musicians. I think if you're going to go that route, there should be a social media director role, which may be hard if you're an indie band and you have no budget. Maybe a friend does it because they're trying to build up their agency. So if you have a friend and they want to do a social media agency, maybe being able to use you guys and doing stuff for you is a way to do it. and you could do some kind of trade or some value exchange there. But I think musicians have to focus on their music. That's my experience of working with musicians. Is what I found is the ones who make it, they get somebody who's obsessed with social media to do social media for them instead of them focusing on it, and then they focus on the music. Jay Unload says, how about mental health journal type blog? I think it's good for expression. I don't think it's great for monetization. Mental health niche has a lot of issues with sponsors, primarily because a lot of the mental health viewing audience reacts negatively to sponsors and has a larger negativity bias. So I've watched people's mental health channels collapse because of bias to how they approach monetization. So I think it tends to be better for expression than it does for building a business. This old Japanese house. Thank you for the 1,000 yen, which I believe is $10 American. So this old Japanese house says, "Hey Roberto, my latest video is my first with over 50% average view duration. Congratulations there. 3% CTR, 10 likes with 44 views, but only 1,450 impressions. Is that unusual? Is that the title and thumbnail? It could be. It seems that the people who gave it a chance, seems like the 44 people that gave it a chance really, really enjoyed your video. Without knowing the title of the video or whatever, it's hard to make a lot of assumptions about it. What I would say in general is that those impressions also do feel low, even for a small channel. Those impressions feel a little low. I don't know what's going on with the channel if the impressions are that low, because even for a small channel, that just seems like really, really low impressions. I have a couple of experimental small channels that don't even have a lot of videos, and they tend to get more impressions than that. The music channel that I do gets more impressions than that, even on videos that, yeah, like, so that's kind of weird. Um, hmm. This old Japanese house, here's something I want you to experiment with sometime. Not a video that you've done in the past, because then it'll get flagged for duplicate content. At some point, start a completely fresh new YouTube channel with a completely fresh email, not on your current account. New email, new Gmail account, new YouTube channel, completely different name, and then make a video. Make a couple of videos, make like 3 videos. Don't heavily edit them. Just make 3 videos. Do put effort into the titles and thumbnails of those 3 videos. Just make 3 videos on a completely separate channel. Do this for me when you have a chance, and make at least 3 to 5 videos. New channel, new email account. See how that performs. Track the views, track the impressions, check the click-through rates. I think there might be some issue with your current channel, and you need a completely fresh YouTube account, because it's not just this video. You've been doing YouTube for a good while. You've been struggle busing trying to do YouTube as a small creator for a very, very long time. I want you to just literally make a new email address, completely separate, a completely different Google Gmail account, a completely new YouTube channel. Do not tie it to this channel or promote it to this channel in any way. No cross contamination. Make a clean experiment. Upload 3 videos you've never made before to that channel, and promise me you'll try this, and just track the data and see what's going on. And I think you'll be surprised. I really believe that somehow, some way, it'll perform much better than your current channel. And then I think that'll just confirm, and I don't know what is wrong with your current channel, but it will confirm something's wrong. Tube Master, hey, what's up? So Roberto, awesome advice. I like to make videos and treat YouTube as a hobby, but it'd be nice to not spend 8 hours a day for someone else's business. Yeah, that's the problem with social media is you do end up being a digital sharecropper to some degree, unless you own a monetization model that allows you to have your own business, your own customers, your own database, your own email list, that sort of thing, which is why I always kind of promote that. Jesse Chaplin says, I agree. The specifics of the reason for the switch was to distance myself from the individual that mentored the original toy review content. As a magic creator, I follow a few successful creators. Okay, yeah, that's good. That makes sense. Roberto, what about kids content? Kids content is rough because of COPPA and what happened with that, which is the Child's Online Privacy and Protection Act. So that government regulation makes kids content a little rough to do, aside from nursery rhyme channels, which nursery rhyme channels crush it on YouTube. If I wanted to make a cash cow channel and I had the skill set, I would absolutely make a children's nursery rhyme channel, because I think a children's nursery rhyme channel is the one channel that has the most potential to be a 10 million subscriber channel. By the way, of the 10 YouTube channels, of the 10 YouTube channels that have 100 million subscribers, I think 3 of them are children's nursery rhyme channels. KP Bolden says, thanks, Roberto. I'm a music marketer who was trained by No Labels Necessary and a solo extreme metal vocalist artist who has been in metal for 23 years. Oh, congrats, man. Yeah, so you are the type of person that could do the marketing for the music side. So you would be the good fit. And I think that makes sense there. So like, but yeah, but I think you'll agree with me that like musicians should be like hardcore focused on musicianship. But I think that someone who has a background but also has the marketing chops can pull off doing effective marketing. But I think the main key to it would be to stand out, because most musicians and indie bands, because they're focused on music side, I think you have to also be really good at cinematography. And I mean like above average good, like banger good at cinematography. And so I think everything has to be high production. I think everything has to be cinematic for the marketing side. And I think that a lot of people are not doing that. Also, I would study the marketing of early Linkin Park as well, because I think there is a desire for what Linkin Park brought to the table, because when they blew up on the scene, the branding, the marketing, the aesthetics, the graphic design, the cinematography, and the way things were done in their videos, it was just a completely different vibe. I think that style of everything could come back today and win. Jay Unloaded. Yeah, I think given your situation, you should focus on expression. Merch could be interesting if it's something that looks cool, but other than that, the niche isn't really a big monetization play. Japanese House says, okay, yeah, I usually get 10 times the impressions. My most popular video has almost 200K views. I will try. Congratulations. Yeah, I want to see what's up, just because that particular video getting such low impressions just makes no sense to me, like at all. It makes no sense. So, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, night, Katie. Let's see. Absolutely great advice. Linkin Park was killer at marketing. Rest in peace, Chester. Yeah, rest in peace, Chester, man. Absolutely. Yeah, no problem, Jay. You know, just whenever you're doing something that's super personal to you, sometimes the best thing to do is to not monetize something that's hyper personalized, because it just can create a lot of push and pull internally for you as a creator. Um, and you may not need that with other things you might be going through in life. So sometimes it's best just to kind of separate these things and create some balance that way. Yeah, Kappa really hurt a lot of family channels, a lot of kids channels. Yeah, Kappa was really rough. Oh, Clara, you started making money off Facebook posts recently? Yeah, no, that's interesting. Facebook monetization is something a lot of people don't look at, but it can be a really good opportunity. Yeah. But going and looking at what I was saying, the thing that I find can actually help is this, because you can actually diversify every one of these spheres. For example, platform revenue, you can do more than one platform. You can do YouTube, and you can do TikTok until it gets banned. You can make money on X, you can make money on Instagram. Some people make money on Facebook and Snapchat. Some people do YouTube and they do Twitch. So if you monetize multiple platforms, that can diversify platform revenue. If you do that, there are multiple opportunities to do sponsorships. I've done sponsorships on my Instagram. I do sponsorships on my email newsletter. So not just my YouTube channel. I've even done sponsorships on X. So where I have almost 100,000 followers. So there are a lot of sponsorships opportunities. There's also UGC. You can do UGC and do stuff on a brand social media, in which case your own reach doesn't even matter. It's much more for the brands. They need you to be the right representation of their audience and the customer. They need you to be a relatable personality or charismatic and attractive. So it's much more about being a spokesperson and model than even having an audience when it comes to UGC. It's being a spokesperson and a model. If you're a thought leader, then you can also leverage your reputation and authority, and then it's endorsements. So that's what UGC is. It's an endorsement. So if it's either an endorsement because you're a thought leader, or as an influencer, you're a spokesperson and model that represents the audience or is attractive to the audience. So that's the thing. And you can do multiple sponsorships and brand deals long term, or you can do multiple UGC clients as often as you can fulfill them, because then that's just client services, similar to being a freelancer. So you can have that, multiple opportunities there. For memberships, you can offer multiple membership tiers, and you could use more than one membership website if you wanted to. I have YouTube channel memberships. It's a low level offer, but I have my own membership, Awesome Creator Academy. That's a higher ticket offer, and you could have multiple subscriptions if you own your own membership website. You could have multiple ways of doing that. My friend Jay Klaus has multiple membership tiers for his membership website, Creator Science with the lab. And then my friend Justin Moore from Creator Wizard now has 2 different subscription models. They're both high ticket subscription models. So, there's just multiple opportunities to do the subscription model thing, either with more than one website, because you could do YouTube and Patreon. Nothing says you can't. You could mirror the offerings there. You could have your own membership website and have a higher ticket thing there because you pay for your own membership website. So you could do all 3. So you get multiple subscription offers, products and services. Obviously, you can have multiple products, multiple services you can offer. So, multiple opportunities. So the thing is, you could have these 4 types of revenue and then some. Oh, you could also add affiliate marketing to products and services, because you can sell someone else's products with an affiliate link. So you could have these, but nothing says it's 1 of each. It could be 3 of each, 4 of each, 5 of each. Some combination of using these 4 things to have 12 income streams. All of that is on the table. And those are ways of deep diversification to make more money. And the thing is, when it comes to identifying a profitable niche has the most opportunity across all of these verticals. It has the most opportunities possible and the most potential possible. So what it would look like is, does this niche do well, not only on one platform, but are there other platforms this niche does well in and could do well in? Are there multiple opportunities to monetize this niche across multiple platforms? Yes or no? How many sponsors could I get? How many sponsors can I identify? How many sponsors pay the people at the top level of my niche? What do I do to get there? Does this have a membership component to it? Is it appropriate to do sponsors and brand deals? Does it give me UGC opportunities? Are there affiliate marketing opportunities in this niche at all? Can I sell to my audience at all in this niche? Is it appropriate? Is it practical? Does it work? Who else does it? What are they doing? So you really, the best thing is to study the business model of the creator you want to be like. If the creator you want to be like doesn't have more than just ad revenue and memberships, or more than ad revenue and sponsors, you might need to reconsider, because they might have just been early or popular and you may not be able to get there. So you might want to say, okay, maybe there's a niche that's like, I still like that has more opportunity, even for a mid-tier creator, in case I'm never the biggest person in my niche. So think like that. So that's why I say, don't just study the biggest people in the niche. Study even the mid-tier talent in the niche. Study people that are at like 50 or 100,000 subscribers that are full-time, and see what their business model actually is. And see if they've ever made a video that explains how they make money on their content. Trainer J says, hey, Roberto, I have a Pokemon Go channel. Oh, that's dope. Congrats. And I'm almost monetized thanks to you. Just want to say thank you. Well, thank you, Trainer J. Good luck to you there. Appreciate you. Yeah, I was a big Pokemon Go fan when it came out. I think it came out in 2016, right around when I got my silver play button. And yeah, I used to go out with my whole family. At the time, this is even right before my grandmother passed away. We literally even brought her out in her wheelchair, and we'd all go downtown and play Pokemon Go together. Yeah, me and my siblings and my grandma, we'd like take her out and we'd do Pokemon Go downtown. And at the time, I lived in North Carolina, and the downtown area of my small town during 2016 was basically revitalized to a large degree by Pokemon Go. And it got people out, and people were spending, and the vendors were happy. It was a really good time. It's a really good time. Yes, kids channels can still technically be monetized, but COPPA has hurt the revenue, and it could be down by 70%. Yeah, this old Japanese house. I'm not sure what or why that channel title for that video. I'm not sure why that video title would be a problem, or if it is a problem. I just don't know why that got so few impressions. Something felt off to me about what's going on with the channel impressions for that particular video. Pawn Star says, oh, where did you live in North Carolina? We lived in Fuquay. I think you meant Fuquay Varina instead of Fuquay Carina. That's probably a typo, because I think it's Fuquay Varina that I know about. I lived out near Fort Bragg, so that's where I lived. I lived near Fort Bragg. Yep. It was it was like Fuquay Varina. Yep, I know. I forget who, but we did, like some work back then for a dental office in Fuquay Arena. I just forget the name of the dental office, but it's like we did their whole website, and it required some flash animation and stuff like that. John Marlowe says, how should those who want to start a new channel avoid and anticipate being hit with the YouTube invalid traffic, demonetization, despite not doing any of that? Have experienced this in 2022. My answer, as someone who's also had the invalid traffic issue hit their channel no less than 8 times. I think poor Nick Nimmin has had it hit his channel 10 times. You can't really avoid it from my perspective, but the hedge is a diversified business model to where you just won't worry about the AdSense. The invalid traffic issue is actually one of the reasons I've aggressively pushed Monetization Mondays as a streaming topic. Is I'm determined to make YouTube creators much less vulnerable to relying on AdSense specifically and platform monetization models where the platforms can change the rules, or there can be an issue, or creators won't get support that they need when they have an issue, or if they're unfairly demonetized or censored in some way. I specifically and explicitly started the Monetization Monday live streams specifically because of how vulnerable creators are when they rely on platforms to make their money, and to encourage creators to diversify their business model and monetization model to not be just digital sharecroppers. I love YouTube. I love the social media platforms for the most part. I have some beefs with Twitch. I have some beefs with TikTok. I have some beefs with Meta. YouTube's the gold standard as far as I'm concerned. Snapchat screwed up and missed some opportunities. I don't think they did enough to protect kids. I have beef with most of the platforms. YouTube is the one that I like the most, along with LinkedIn, I would suppose. But what I would say is YouTube with the invalid traffic issue was the big rallying cry for me to say, I really have to focus on teaching creators the other ways to make money, because I don't rely on AdSense. It's a nice to have. I love that AdSense exists, and I know it helps a lot of creators. A lot of people mistake me on saying, man, you just bag on AdSense, or you rag on AdSense, or you don't respect creators who make AdSense revenue. It's that YouTube giveth, YouTube take away. It's too vulnerable. I don't trust it. It's just too unreliable. I've seen so many creators get demonetized even when they don't do something wrong. I've seen people suffer when the advertiser boycotts happen with the adpocalypse, even if they made wholesome content. I watched family creators and vloggers with COPPA, the Child Online Privacy and Protection Act, COPPA, get their channels not necessarily demonetized, but might as well be, since the ad revenue went down by 70% and they lost a bunch of their features. There's so many things that are out of our control with AdSense that over the years, it becomes less and less reliable every year that it exists, believe it or not. And creators who it does really well for, or who make a lot of money on AdSense, they don't like to acknowledge how bad it is for the creators who lose it. And they don't like to acknowledge how bad they would feel and how much they'd like change their mind if they lost their AdSense revenue, or it got cut by 50 or 70% and they did nothing wrong, or they don't feel they did anything wrong. So like a lot of creators that like get on me or oppose me when I say things they don't like, or I, in their mind, I discredit or devalue AdSense, they don't consider the fact that they would change their tune if they ever lost it, or if their friends ever lost their AdSense, they would feel very differently, and then they'd agree with me more. Because it's easy to love AdSense when you're winning at AdSense. It's harder to consider what you would do if you ever lost it. So I'm just very aggressive about saying we need to diversify the ways we make money as creators, and that we need to be able to rely more on ourselves and more on our audience and more on our own abilities than trust that we'll just be paid and compensated for bringing traffic to a platform. So hopefully that makes sense for people and puts things in perspective. So Moxie Approved says, hey, been watching you for years, just past 50K subs. Congratulations. Cheers, man. Thanks for the content. Thank you, and I appreciate that. It's always good to hear that the content's working and it has an impact. And yeah, you're halfway to a silver play button. So good job, Moxie. CC Rachel, thank you for the $10 super chat. CC says, hey, Roberto, I started a channel for women seeking more peace and balance, making videos and digital physical products on self-care, stress management, confidence building, not looking to do YouTube full time. Any suggestions? So if you're not looking to do YouTube full time, it sounds like if you're not looking to do YouTube full time and you're on a mission, the monetization models the monetization models you already have are good, and you're not even looking to do YouTube full time. My advice to you probably would be then to focus on audience growth. So probably look in your YouTube analytics, see what got the most subscribers, not just the most views, but what got the most subscribers, and maybe make more of that content, and maybe prioritize subscribers so that you can have the status as an authority figure in the women's personal development space. And because there are not as many big channels in that space, you could be one of them. So I would say focus on becoming one of the larger channels, which means that is a reason to become a thought leader and focus on subscribers instead of views. That way you can have the authority, and then that means you might have more weight with what you say, and maybe consider writing a book. So that would be my thought. Thank you so much, CC Rachel. Appreciate you. Us Plus Dad says, hey, Roberto, I'm excited about Awesome Creator Academy. It'll be nice to interact with other content creators and grow as a creator. Yeah, we have a great time at Awesome Creator Academy. I love doing office hours. I love the success stories we have from our students. Coaching has actually been the thing that I tend to enjoy a lot. I still love content creation. You guys know I love live streaming specifically, and I've fallen in love with streaming and answering questions and doing Q&A a lot more than editing. I'm training my brother to where I'm going to try and get rid of my editing. We've been doing a lot of the logistics for that, backing up drives, downloading B-roll, doing some training stuff. I'm still going to do a lot of editing myself for edited videos for the next 2 to 3 months. But my hope is by the fall, by Vid Summit, my brother will take over the editing. So we're going to do that. I'm going to try. I don't know how well this will work. I'm going to try to do a video every day in August challenge where I try to make a video every day in August. So wish me luck, especially with how long I've taken off from uploading edited YouTube videos to do streams. Yeah, wish me luck with that one. But the trick to that one is that recording very good videos with good quality information is not hard for me. Therefore, the goal is to make those less edited, but more polished deliveries and deep dives. So much more of the current style of an Alex Hormozy or even a Dan Coe, with less editing and B-roll, but just deep, very specific information for you guys. So a very condensed version of what you get in a live stream, something more of a 25 to 35 minute version of that, with deep information and actionable advice. The other format we're going to do is probably the 15 tips videos. So those will be easier to edit. Those will have like B-roll and stuff like that. It won't be anything wild, but we will do a bunch of those. And then there'll be some general how-to videos that we're going to do. So we're going to definitely do an update to how to get 4,000 watch hours on YouTube, how to get your first 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, how to do that, how to get 10,000, and how to get 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. So we'll do those videos. We'll do a lot of brutally honest advice videos. So yeah, all those things. We've recorded a handful of videos for the August videos, but most of the recording for the August videos will be happening all of this weekend and next week and the following weekend. So basically over the next 10 days, will be the recording portion for most of the videos. Editing will actually start next week as well. So editing will start probably next Wednesday or Thursday. Filming will be starting this weekend. And I probably won't have to spend the whole week filming because we will probably film 3 to 5 videos a day. And so we'll knock those out the first half of the week. Then we'll start editing with the goal of editing 2 videos a day in the midpoint. So that'll put us at least a week ahead. And so by being at least a week ahead and having those scheduled, that will accomplish most of the process. The videos were already, the titles for the videos were already created. I will be basically using the mornings to finish the outlines for some of the videos as we go. And eventually, the goal will be as we get ahead of them that I'll be able to. So we're going to do the easy low lift videos for me, and then we'll begin into the deeper videos over a period of time. We all use Adobe in terms of Brian Weber asks, what program are you using to teach your brother edit with? Which resources would you recommend me to get better at video editing with iMovie, or should I upgrade? Ali Abdal has a course on Skillshare you can watch for Final Cut Pro. So if you're an iMovie guy, just upgrade to Final Cut Pro and be done with it, or DaVinci Resolve. For if you go DaVinci Resolve, you can watch my friend Daniel Batal, which is his last name is Batal, Daniel Batal. So like Daniel Battle, like battalion. So Daniel Batal. He does DaVinci Resolve videos. DaVinci Resolve is free. You can watch him. Yeah, we're Adobe people in this house. So Premiere Pro is what I'm doing. And I got him the course from Hayden Hiller Smith, Edit Like an Artist. So that's going to help in addition to my own training. So, yeah. Yaki Domingo says, hey, Roberto, love your content. You inspired me to do 100 videos in 100 days. Nice. Most are no to low edits, but all gems. Thank you for dropping gems. Finally caught you live. Appreciate you. Jackie D says, hey, didn't get the notification, but I'm here now. Yeah, sometimes notifications do be like that. How do you segment your planned versus stream videos? I kind of don't. I have a framework for live stream videos, but just because I cover a subject in a live doesn't mean I wouldn't make an edited version of it. And I believe that a lot of videos can have shorter and longer variations of the same theme. So I think it's fine. And since 80% of people end up being new viewers versus returning viewers, I don't think it matters if it feels a little repetitive from time to time. If it reinforces the right message, I think it's fine for it to be repetitive. Because then it's not repetitive. It really is just consistent. Future of Feud with Chef Kelly. Hey, Roberto, what is your advice or gut reaction to creators who want to co-collaborate on one channel, one niche, while keeping their own personal channels, kind of like day job versus night job? So I think separating can be very good, but I think co-collaborating or co-hosting a channel, I think it can be messy. I think it can be messy because the question becomes, okay, so whose AdSense account is tied to it? How is the money being split? What do we do with this channel if we decide we don't want to work together anymore? So who gets the channel in the divorce? So I think that becomes a thing. What happens with the brand deals? How are we splitting that money? Is it 50-50? What's the distribution of responsibility and work for the channel? What's that look like? So I think that my gut reaction is if there's a way for it to not be messy, great. I think there's a high probability of it being messy. So I'd say my gut reaction is get everything in writing. Get everything in writing. And while cross collaboration might grow a channel fast, the liability is if it goes sideways and negative. So one, have everything in writing and have a standing agreement to say, if this goes sideways, we act professional and do no damage to any of the brands that we've worked hard to build. So it has to be that you build in the creator equivalent of a prenup that says, here's what happens in the event of a creator divorce, and here's how the assets and brand get split up, and here's how the money gets divvied, and here's our mutual NDA and mutual non-disparagement agreement to not attack and or destroy each other's brands no matter what happens in the end. So basically, with a collaborator channel or a co-hosted channel or even a co-host or collaborating brand, you need a legal agreement, in my opinion, that basically takes mutually assured destruction, pettiness, retaliation, blackmail completely off of the table in the event that there's a split in the brands. This is also my belief about couples who are not married or even who are married who do content creation together, is that you should have a legally binding agreement that takes your ability to weaponize your anything against each other in the present or future completely legally off the table and creates legal consequences to do so. And that should include, in my opinion, a non-disparagement agreement by both parties, an NDA mutual to both parties, and there should be enforceable legal consequences for breaking it. Either of you does anything to destroy each other's brand, there should be a hefty, unreasonable legal consequence that's absolutely legal and enforceable to assure that no matter how people get in their feelings, that that option is off the table and that people part as professionals. So I think it's a non-negotiable to have such an agreement in place. That's what my gut reaction is. My gut reaction is, one, avoid a creator divorce. Hell, avoid divorce. But avoid a creator divorce if you do anything together with another creator, and create a situation to where there is a hefty legal consequence for working against each other and not protecting each other's business and brand above all else. Sad we live in a world where I have to say that. Jackie D says, hey, Roberto, when you started, your niche was tech and that changed to YouTube. What was the reason for the change, or more was it like a fusion? It's more like a fusion, but it's more like an evolution, because I would argue that my niche was helping freelancers and teaching freelancers how to go full-time. And I would believe that that evolved into teaching creators how to go full-time. And I believe that technically the tech and tutorials was the skill set required to help that. And I believe there was some overlap, or there were points where I kind of indulged the tech side more because I'm a techie person and it did work and get views, but it was also a lot of my personality. But the tech would only be relevant to someone who is creating things. So since I was working with creative professionals who want to be freelancers, the natural overlap of that to content creators, because the skill set was the same. The skill set's the same. You want to do photography, videography, and be a creative pro that makes money doing that, which I covered a lot because I did those things. You still need all the same skills as a YouTuber. You want to be a graphic designer, you need to learn social media marketing in this stage and age as well. YouTuber uses both because they use the marketing skills to reach an audience, and they use the graphic design skills to make thumbnails, banners, and visuals for the videos as far as motion graphics. Same skill sets. So I just felt there was an evolution of, you can use the skills part of everything I taught you, regardless of which direction you go. You can use it for freelancing and do client services, or you could use it to serve yourself and build a business or be a content creator. And so I navigated that. It was a messy transition and evolution. So I do look at it more as a fusion, but I look at it as an evolution of my personal brand. In what I teach didn't really change. It's how you utilize it or what your goal is. So I think that, that's what my answer there is. Did I write my outlines? I wrote enough of them. Still writing more, and we'll do more around the way, but we're going to do the low lift easiest videos first. Brian Weaver says, hey, I'll be joining Awesome Creator Academy when I reach 1K subs. Thanks for all your free content you provide. Always listen to your replays. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate you. Yeah, getting monetized is definitely one of the prerequisites for Awesome Creator Academy. I prefer creators to already be monetized. You have the highest probability of making money back if you are monetized already, because then the lessons apply and you can make money. So that definitely helps. So, yeah. Jackie D says, awesome insights. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. Yeah, no, absolutely. Jesse says, I tried a variant of your 60-second, 6-minute, 60-minute idea from one of your live streams, and I did it for performing magic. I've also started focusing on keeping shorts, feeding shorts. Yeah, shorts feeding shorts is the answer. A lot of people want their shorts to feed long form. There are strategies where people say, oh, yeah, that works. Here's how I did it, blah, blah, blah. But in general, even looking to YouTube as a company, it seems that the best overall strategy is to feed shorts into short form for a psychology reason. Exceptions of people said, hey, here's my case study where I did this and my long form videos performed. That is an exception rather than a rule. When you're in bed and you're bed rotting and scrolling shorts, you don't usually want to go to a long form video unless it was like an interview, like a Joe Rogan podcast or something like that. So most times you are scrolling shorts for a reason, because you want to be on shorts. So something feeding you another short is probably for the best. So I think I answered pretty much all the questions here. And I think we covered a lot of ground on the topic of diversifying your income streams and finding a profitable niche. Again, a big one is to really analyze, how do the creators that I want to be like actually make their money, and what are their limitations, where are their opportunities, and looking at more than one creator that is doing it and breaking down their business models and their income streams, especially people who are transparent about their income streams. That's extremely helpful in this whole endeavor for picking a profitable niche. Like I said, profitable isn't just about, oh, how much does this make in CPM and RPM? How does this make in ad revenue? It is knowing how many opportunities it has, not only for ad revenue, but sponsorships, and whether you can sell to the audience and whether the audience has money to buy anything. And also, how can this work, and what's the model for memberships and subscription model stuff. So diversifying in that avenue, looking at, are there affiliate link opportunities so that when I get sponsors, I can double dip with the affiliate links and make money on both ends. So like that becomes important as well. How many sponsors can I have? Do any of these people do long-term sponsorship deals with the influencers they work with or the thought leaders that represent them? What do I do there? Hey, does this niche work in multiple platforms? Does it work for multi-streaming? Does it work for repurposing shorts? Does it work for repurposing long form? So studying how many opportunities a niche has to make money, and how many sub opportunities within opportunities, how many opportunities within an opportunity. How can I be multi-dimensional? How can I, have 4 or 5 ways to make money and turn that into 10 or 15 different sources of income? That's how you should be thinking about a niche being profitable. I think that it has to have 3 to 4 really solid monetization methods. So again, maybe it has affiliate links or selling a product or service. Maybe it's memberships, sponsorship, UGC, ad revenue. It needs to have a good solid combination of 3 to 4 of those. Then you have to have multiple opportunities within those. So I would look at that from how profitable is this, is based on how many opportunities do I really have. And that's kind of where I would put the focus in determining, is this niche truly profitable? Maybe one day I'll do an edited video that is like a tier list of profitable new YouTube niches. Maybe I'll do a tier list video of profitable YouTube niches, and I'll put some stuff in S tier, A tier, B tier, and some scrub stuff in D tier. And so, that might be a video idea that I work on probably after August or something, probably closer to Vid Summit. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning into the live stream. If you want to check out Awesome Creator Academy, link is in the description below. If you guys want to check out the brand deal starter kit, there is a discount that is running for a couple of more days. If you're watching the replay, you're probably going to miss the discount because it ends on July 22nd. But use discount birthday boy 40, all one word, and you can get the brand deal starter kit for 40% off because I turned 40 last month. So we just have a couple of more days on the sale, but there it is. So you get 40% off of the brand deal starter kit. You can go to awesomecreatoracademy.com and check that out. Ends midnight, July 22nd, midnight Eastern Standard Time. So if you do want to get in on the brand deal starter kit, make sure you're checking that out. If you want to check out my book, robertoblake.com/go/book, buy my book. So I'm going to drop that link for you as well. And so, yeah, you can check out my book, Create Something Awesome. It is in Amazon. It is $9 on Kindle, like $9.99 on Kindle, $14.99 for a paperback. So make sure you're checking that out. If you enjoyed that book and you read it already, definitely leave me a review. And so we're going to close out the live stream with the trailer for my book. I need to make a new one because this one's a little dated, but stay awesome, and I will catch you next time. I finally did it. I finished my book, Create Something Awesome, How Content Creators Are Profiting from Their Passion in the Creator Economy. The book is available now in paperback and in Kindle, where you can read it on any e-reader or device. And I'm really excited about this. The audiobook is coming soon, probably October 2022. Oh my God, it's so great to be able to have this book done, put it up on the bookshelf, and to know that all of you who appreciate it, you want to hear what I have to say about the creator economy, becoming a full-time content creator, and what the experience and lifestyle of being a content creator actually is like. This is the book. I put 20 chapters in here of the most important things I think that content creators could be focusing on today. I talk about the mental health aspect of being a content creator, getting discouraged, imposter syndrome, not charging what you're worth, and mostly actionable advice around monetizing your content properly, but also how to build an audience on your authenticity and what it's really like to start from zero, even today. So if you're interested, make sure you're checking out the book. You can order it on Amazon. You also probably order it in a lot of other places like Barnes & Noble, and it will be coming to other bookstores soon. Really excited about it. Thank you for all the support and love around the book and the positive reviews. Now go ahead and pick it up and make sure you go out there and create something awesome today. Take care.